Tonight, a routine restaurant inspection pulls out surprises in Dunedin.
That's not good.
What not good?
It's raining maggots in Auckland.
They were just falling in my hair. It was all over the blue table. It's not nice, it's horrible, it really is.
And in Canterbury, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Off my property. Off my property. Get off my...
Okay.
In Dunedin, Environmental Health Officer Wayne Boss is heading out from the council for a routine inspection. Food poisoning is a serious public health risk, with over 12,000 people contracting various foodborne illnesses every year.
Hello? Hi, can you help? From Dunedin City Council Environmental Health.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm here to just do a routine inspection, food inspection of your premises.
Chinese restaurant Blue Sky has a history of problems with food safety practices, currently carrying an adequate C grade.
Any areas outside?
Yeah. Outside the coolers, outside.
It should be this.
It doesn't take long for Wayne to uncover problems.
That's raw meat, it's in a bowl, but it's uncovered as well, so it doesn't do all that you could reasonably, practically do to protect the food from risk of contamination.
The food here is dangerously exposed to all sorts of cross-contamination.
We've got cooked ducks there, but we've got no idea when they were actually cooked. When did you cook these ducks?
Yesterday.
Today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that?
Sweet and sour pork.
Sweet and sour pork.
Yeah.
When would you have made that?
I already yesterday got cooked it. Yeah.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Without any labels as evidence, Wayne can't be certain.
What about this pork?
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Yesterday. Yeah, already put the salt.
Right.
And in the freezer, things are just as bad.
That one's chicken's feet. There's some which seem to be almost like raw pork. What's going on? Can you come and help me? Can you just tell me what some of these are?
The tiny stem, some the stem hole.
How old are they?
All this mid now, they're gonna keep it here. How I put it?
What's this?
Chicken feet, dim sum.
When did you make them?
Yeah, mid now, all of them made the sold a day, all the sold a day.
Already there are grave concerns about the operator's food safety practices.
It's not clean enough. A lot of the food has become uncovered. This chicken looks like that because it hasn't been covered properly. So it's going dry. And these meals, the dim sum, again, some of those haven't been covered, right? I've no idea how old they are. And again, you need to be getting in here, organising those and clearing out the old ones until you've got a system that you can tell me how fresh they are. Okay? Do you understand that?
Yeah, all of the fish, the dim sum, anytime.
Yeah, but that's not good.
Not good?
No, it's not good. Yeah.
What not good?
Yeah.
Wayne's concerns don't seem to be sinking in. That's a worry, because this inspection's going to get a whole lot worse.
Yeah, they take the dim sum, all the fish pan, dim sum, the salt, same.
Okay.
Yeah, not fish pan, I bring it close, please stop.
Meanwhile, on Auckland's North Shore, Environmental Health Officer Brett Taylor is responding to a distress call from some unhappy tenants. 1 in 4 New Zealanders say the home they live in has contributed to poor health.
How you doing? I'm Brett from North City Council.
Thanks for coming.
Tenants Chris and Leslie claim they have lived in filth for 18 months, unable to escape their lease.
We just rang you out of desperation. Neither of us sleep at night. It's difficult when you've got a rat behind your headboard.
Yeah.
It's even more difficult when you go to the laundry and there's a rat sitting on the washing machine and it goes one way and you go the other way in a panic. We've got mice droppings like through these cupboards.
There's one in there and there's some at the back.
Okay. And it's like that through the whole cupboard?
Yeah.
Oh, but as you can see, we've emptied all our cooking gear and Tupperware. Well, we've thrown all the Tupperware out, actually.
Living with rats poses a serious health risk.
We thought it was possums. We now know better. You'll invite people around for dinner and you're sitting down at dinner and 5 or 6 rats do the Kentucky Derby over your head, and oddly enough, people sort of want to hurry up and leave. So it's not a great house for entertaining.
It may be a dirty job, but Brett must unearth the full extent of this problem.
Okay, so that will just push up when I go up
You'll
there?
probably get rat droppings on your head.
Will I? Oh, lovely. Yeah, there's definite signs of rat activity here. Some very large droppings right next to the hatch.
Clearly, Chris and Leslie weren't exaggerating when they said it was like having rats running races over their heads.
It's more urine that I can smell.
Oh joy.
Yeah, it's not nice.
No.
Exposure to rat urine is a major health hazard that can cause leptospirosis, a dangerous disease that can be deadly.
The rat droppings are scattered through the roof, and it looks like they've had a fair go at the bait stations as well.
Earlier, the landlord had a friend put poison baits in the roof, but they didn't kill all the rats. The remaining rats have destroyed the bait stations. And it gets worse.
On Thursday morning, my partner Leslie woke up to find the carpet covered in maggots from rotting rodents in the roof. They drop out of the top left corner there, where there's some pretty big gaps. We vacuum them up. That's about 24 and a bit hours worth of maggots coming out of the ceiling.
Maggots are fly larvae and need rotting flesh to feed on. They'll be growing in the carcasses of the rats that were poisoned.
It was just falling in my hair. It was all over the blue table. I had my grandson's toys there and it had all landed in his toys and, oh, horrible. Yeah, I didn't know where to go, to be honest. It's like, well, what do you do when your floor is just covered in maggots?
Run.
You know? Yeah, run. It's not nice, it's horrible, it really is. It's heartbreaking.
Maggots dropping down from the ceiling, I don't think anyone would consider that's healthy.
In Dunedin, Wayne has uncovered serious health risks, but an agitated owner isn't helping this inspection.
You don't understand Chinese dim sum, you understand?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no fish, but I bring her close this
Okay.
one.
When's this from?
You mean?
When's that from?
The siu mai, you understand?
So how long have you had that pork
You
for?
know, you talk to Chinese, come and send it to
Okay.
English,
Don't
okay?
worry. Don't worry. If what you could do, you start just organised, tidying that a little bit, cleaning it. We'll carry on into the kitchen, okay? All right. All right.
Yeah, you don't understand Chinese dim sum, no trouble for me. And the first one, dim
Okay.
sum.
All right. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Inside, and things are about to get a whole lot worse for this troubled operator.
What I can actually see under there is rat droppings. See the very large ones? There are rat droppings. But there's evidence that there is some vermin activity. There's the odd other droppings under there as well. These are droppings. You don't clean under there. Yeah, do you know what those are? It's rat droppings, yeah?
Capable of transmitting over 500 diseases, including listeria, dysentery and even salmonella. Rats are a serious health hazard to unsuspecting diners.
Good test of finding whether they've got the wash hand facilities and there's hot water and there's detergent and disposable paper towels, so passed that part of the test, which is good.
But because of the severe vermin infestation, Wayne needs to take immediate action under the Dunedin City bylaws.
Currently you're carrying a grade C. I'm going to change that on the evidence of what I've found today to a grade D and close your premises, no operation of your business, no sale of food to the public until we've got this issue sorted out.
The operator is shut down and must convince Wayne within 3 days that he can maintain adequate food practices. If not, he faces longer-term closure and prosecution under the Food Act.
I'm pleased that we've actually done something to protect the public with the food as well. I'm quite happy that it'll be closed now until Friday to give the operator sufficient time to make those improvements.
In Canterbury, Environmental Protection Officers Melanie Bressington and Chloe Armour are responding to a call out on the pollution hotline.
Welcome to Environment Canterbury, speaking with Laura.
Smoke pollution is a serious threat to air quality here.
Okay, bye.
It's the job of this team to help prevent it. Today, Melanie and Chloe have been dispatched to investigate a complaint from a young mother. A residential chimney has been repeatedly blowing ghastly smoke onto her property, with concerning effects to her children's health.
Oh, that's really strong. Hi, my name's Melanie. I'm with the pollution hotline. How long's it been occurring today?
Probably most of the day. Okay. It can be a lot worse than this.
Potential harmful discharge of smoke carries a beefy $300 fine under the Resource Management Act. So a survey first will grade the risk.
It's 10 minutes worth of measurements, and we take short, sharp kind of sniffs every 10 seconds within that minute, and we're measuring the scale of intensity on a scale of 1 to 6, so 0 being no odour detected at all, 6 being extremely strong odour. Hedonic tone, so whether it's, you know, extremely unpleasant or if it's quite a pleasant smell. So smoke would probably be in the unpleasant range.
Returning from school, the young mother is concerned about the health of both her children, but especially her asthmatic baby.
Yeah, smelly.
Air pollution studies show that particulate matter in smoke has detrimental effects for asthmatics, with decreased lung function.
We've just finished the odour assessment. What we'll do now is we'll go over and try and contact them and see if they're home. Yeah, it's not a very nice smell, is it?
With the risk apparent, Melanie and Chloe must confront the source of the smoke, the neighbour.
Hi, my name's Melanie. I'm with the pollution hotline. Do you have a moment? You're not interested talking to?
Property off my property, off.
Okay, well we have a right. Sir.
Off my property.
We're warranted officers under the Resource Management Act. We'll knock on his door, shall we?
Just be careful, Chloe.
Off my property. Off my property.
But under the Resource Management Act, we have a right to be on your property. We just wanted to ask you a few questions about your domestic chimney.
In Canterbury, Environmental Protection Officers Melanie and Chloe are investigating a smoky chimney. It's causing distress to a young family on a neighbouring property.
Off my property. Off my property. Get off.
Under the Resource Management Act.
Off my property.
Okay. Okay, sir, we're leaving.
Off my property. Come back here when you got a warrant.
We have got warrants.
Talk.
But under the Resource Management Act, we have a right to be on your property. We just wanted to ask you a few questions about your domestic chimney.
Talk.
Despite the man behaving aggressively, Melanie and Chloe persist.
Can I take down your name, please?
No.
We just want a few details for our
I'm
database.
not going to give you none of my details, okay? Unless you've got a warrant to arrest me, I ain't going to give you none of my details, okay?
Well, we don't
have a warrant.
Well, you have a warrant to
To
arrest
arrest
me.
you.
You haven't a warrant to arrest me?
It is a
No.
legal
I
offence.
am not going to tell you
It is
my
a
name.
criminal offence if you do not provide us with your information.
Show me that detail then.
Okay. There's Section 22 of the RMA there. failure to provide information.
You can just tell us your name and address.
I'll just give you my driver's license.
Okay, that's sufficient. And what's your telephone number here, please?
Haven't got one.
Do you have a mobile number?
No.
Okay, does any of your flatmates?
Don't know.
Do you know their names?
Never got it.
Okay.
So you reside at this address, sir?
No.
No?
But do you own this property?
No.
Whereabouts do you live?
On the moon.
With the man being very unhelpful, Melanie tries a new approach.
So it doesn't usually burn like that all the time, or is it just
No.
just when it starts up?
We've got a guy from Canterbury Chimneys or someone. He come and swept it, and then he told me that the flue wasn't the legal length for the pitch of the house or something. So he's coming back and put a 4 metre flue on it and a different hat on it one day this week when it ain't raining. Right, and if that don't fix the problem, come back and see us then.
Okay.
Right?
No, that's fine. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. Wow. Yeah, he was not very pleased to see us, unfortunately. Yeah, he got quite aggressive. He was refusing to give us information, and it's actually a criminal offence, failure to provide information, so we actually had to show him what section of the RMA he was going to be breaching if he didn't give us his name and details. And even then, he still was making a joke of it.
But there's also a good result out of that. He is in fact increasing the height of his flue there, so that'll lift up the height at which the smoke leaves, so it might just be enough to stop it falling directly into the complainant's property, as we saw it doing today.
The man did later follow through on his promise to extend the flue, but further complaints resulted in abatement that required him to stop smoke discharging from the property in an objectionable manner. And Environment Canterbury made attempts to educate him about the correct use of the fire. Back on Auckland's North Shore, Brett is responding to a complaint from tenants living in a rat and maggot-infested house.
They were just falling in my hair. It was all over the blue table. Didn't know where to go, to be honest. It's like, well, what do you do when your floor is just covered in maggots?
Having tried for 18 months to remedy the situation, Leslie is at breaking point.
It's not nice, it's horrible, it really is. It's heartbreaking.
And the list of health hazards keeps growing.
Right, so water quality, drinking water. This is just straight cold water from the tap. It's our drinking water, cooking water, washing water, you name it, after the filters.
The water supply to the house comes from this rainwater tank.
No. We don't drink the tank water now. It's either get bottled water or we go down to someone with city supply and just fill up cans of water. Actually, we've felt quite a lot better since doing that religiously. So this is filtered water. The colour you're seeing there is pretty much the best we've ever had it. It's been green to about that sort of colour on and off in the past.
Yeah.
So what does Inspector Brett think of this property?
This is probably one of the worst I've ever seen. It's all adding up to be quite a serious situation. I am quite surprised that no one's been seriously sick here.
At the end of the day, we have both been sick. We can't sleep at night, and it's taken forever and a month of Sundays to get anything done about anything. So we've had a gutsful, pretty much.
With rats running riot, maggots falling from the ceiling and green drinking water, these living conditions are not healthy.
I'd just really like to get an exit from our tenancy if we can, either through the tribunal or directly with the property manager and landlord. Neither of us are happy living here. I guess you can see why.
Chris and Leslie later notify Brett that after a year and a half of battling, they have finally managed to escape their lease.
Well, 8 minutes after you left, the property manager arrived in a storm of gravel and fury, and we got out of our lease 5 minutes after her arrival, and the Saturday after you guys last saw us, we were out. We have clear water now. You can actually run the bath and it doesn't look like green tea. Brett did a great job, and We only wish we really had bit the bullet and done it sooner, and
it's made us a lot happier.
A lot happier, a lot healthier.
Happier and healthier, yeah, healthier.
Yeah.
Back in Dunedin, Wayne is revisiting Chinese restaurant Blue Sky, where uncovered food and evidence of vermin activity posed a concerning public health risk.
Hey! Clean! That's looking a lot different, which is great. We've got containers with lids on things, food's in boxes, big fish, but it's not open, the food's not open, which is good. So what this is kind of showing me is that this business operator can do it, you know, and I'm looking for him to consistently keep the premises like this, not just when we've come round and had a bit of a talking to him, you know. Can you get for me the pest control work that you've done as well? I'm looking for baiting, I'm looking for follow-up, and I'm looking for no bait takes. And in the restaurant area, it's saying that they have inspected bait stations and found no activity in that area.
The news is an improvement for the operator.
My real ideal hope is that he's going to move this forward now, because obviously what you can see today, Friday, 3 days on from the inspection, is a completely different looking premises.
For now, a D grade will at least allow the operator to reopen his business.
So we've made some gradual improvement. I mean, my hope and ambition is that when we come back next week on Thursday, we can move this to a grade C. And who knows, after the food control plant training course in June on the 22nd, you know, next visit you might be able to move forward again, but only time will tell, really.
Blue Sky later earned an upgrade to a more acceptable C grade. Tonight, rotting rubbish causes a stink in Dunedin.
Oh my God.
The battle lines are drawn on the North Shore.
It's unfair if you have an A grade.
It's a shock.
And officers get to the bottom of an illegal deal in South Auckland.
How old did she say she was?
She said 18 or 20.
Try again.
At Auckland's North Shore City Council, Fiona Eames and her team deal to more than 130 calls each week. And with over 1,200 premises to police, it's a mammoth task for the environmental health team. This morning, Fiona is heading out to investigate a recent complaint from a member of the public.
I'm just going to investigate a complaint I received about flies in a food premises. Surprisingly enough, health inspector's already been 2 weeks ago and mentioned the fly issue. So because we've received a complaint again, I'm going out there to check it out.
A North Shore cafe currently has an A-grade rating. That's as good as it gets, so Fiona's expecting its food and hygiene standards to be immaculate.
Hi there, how are you? I'm Fiona from North Shore City Council. You probably remember me, don't you? Okay, that's good. I'm just here to discuss a little issue.
Yes?
A customer rang up and had a concern about flies in the... Flies, yeah. So if I can come and have a look around and we'll just... Okay. There's quite a lot around. As you can see, they just seem to be hanging around the ceilings and stuff around here.
Flies are an endless problem for food establishments, potentially spreading nasty illnesses like dysentery and diarrhoea.
Just looking at it, you do have quite a lot of flies buzzing around, and there's also...
We have a regular cleaning schedule.
You have a regular cleaning schedule?
We just cleaned the last week or some now.
And when was the last time you cleaned your fridge?
Last month.
Last month?
Clean the fridge.
clean the fridge, yeah?
Every day I clean the fridge.
You clean inside the shelving and stuff? No, it doesn't really look like you've cleaned it every day because there's a lot of build-up of stuff.
The state of the kitchen is raising Fiona's level of concern. Evidence of uncleanliness keeps mounting.
Do you have any sanitizer?
Sanitizer, yes.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
That's detergent. That's okay. Yep. But do you have anything sort of like what you can spray on and wipe to wipe benches once you clean them?
Yeah.
Poor cleaning practices could mean horrible surprises for diners, with harmful bacteria spreading from dirty surfaces and ultimately ending up in mouths.
This doesn't look like it's been cleaned out regularly. It looks like it's quite dirty. There's just some areas that show that there hasn't been a detailed clean for quite a while. And when there's a build-up like this, it could mean that, you know, there might be infestation, maybe rats, cockroaches.
Yeah.
And
we haven't seen any cockroach.
So you know that just because you don't see a cockroach doesn't mean that there's none, because cockroaches will come out at night.
Yeah.
While there's no sign of cockroaches today, the owners definitely need to do something to control the fly population.
And then we normally use a spray like this to minimize the
flies. And also you'll find that if cleaning is improved substantially, then you're not going to have that problem. It won't attract as many flies, because wherever there's a bit of grime, a bit of dirt, the flies will come to it because it's a free meal for them. Okay.
This heavy infestation is a risk to public health, so under North Shore City bylaws, Fiona can't leave the A grade in place.
Sorry to say, I do have to take this A grade down.
But not now. It expires on the usual term.
It expires, but this is not the right grade anymore.
But you can't take it now.
I have to take it now.
Please keep it there until, because we are working very hard to get an A, and now you say it, and even give us the chance to improve that and take it off.
You had an inspection 2 weeks ago, and they already asked you to address the flies then, so it should have been done after that, and it hasn't. It's unfair if you retain this A while other food premises work hard to control the flies and do their cleaning and also get an A. I can't have you all the same grade.
It's a medicine shop, you know. Quite seriously,
Okay, thank you. I'll see you next week. Most premises that do have an A act on it straight away. They see flies, they know there's a problem. They either improve their cleaning, get a pest control company in, check the fly screens. They're doing something, whereas in this case, nothing was done.
Later that day at Manukau City Council, District Licensing Officer Paul Radich, accompanied by Constable Chris Lally, is preparing for a controlled purchase operation, sending minors in to obtain alcohol. Fueling crime, disorder and even addiction, underage drinking is a serious problem.
In Manukau City there's a lot of concern about underage drinking and youth access to alcohol. So this is our primary tool in trying to combat that.
Intelligence received by the District Licence Authority and the police reveals some liquor outlets aren't playing by the book. Chris and Paul's operation covers 485 stores in this area, and tonight some of those operators are in for a big surprise.
5 o'clock on a Friday night, we're about to embark on a controlled purchase operation. This time we're using 2 girls. We're hitting Mangani tonight, so hopefully we'll make it through them all and there won't be any sales.
So first up tonight, an important briefing for the girls.
Go for stuff that you think everybody wants to drink, like your RTDs and your woodies and that sort of stuff, okay? So you can't lie or anything like that. If you ask what's your age, you have to actually tell them the truth. Don't get in an argument with them, just walk out, okay?
The girls' safety is top priority, and the first few visits go off without a hitch.
Just asked us for ID and then we were like, nah, sorry, we don't have any, and then that was it. We just walked out. Yeah.
Cool.
A no sale is the ideal result, but Paul knows from experience that sometimes a no sale happens because a store has been alerted. His team have to be careful not to be spotted.
Seeing what this guy's up to, because he's got his cell phone out and he's doing all sorts of stuff out there. we've either just been sprung and he's sending a text out to say we're out and about doing a CPR, or he's trying to figure out where the girls have gone. So,
hoping the other stores haven't been warned of their operation, the team carry on.
just in the middle, there's 2 roller doors that are shut. The bottle store's right next door to it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Oh, duck.
While the girls are inside, a store spotter emerges. But has he seen Paul and Chris?
Yeah, I got sold. Busted.
Clearly the spotter didn't realise what was happening, because someone in the store has committed a blatant violation of the Liquor Licensing Act.
What did you say for age?
We said 15.
You told me you were 15.
You told them you were 15 and they still sold it?
Yeah.
He's a new owner.
Not for long.
Having taken a statement from the girls, Chris and Paul confront the staff.
Hello. Greetings, how are you?
Hello.
Good.
The reason we're here is that earlier on this evening you sold to 2 15-year-old girls.
We sold?
Yes, you sold. We have it on camera.
Sure?
Yes, I'm sure, because they said they were 15.
We always check the ID and we even take care as well. Written his ID is ill.
Yep. Well, they walked in here and they came out with the alcohol, and they're 15 years old, 2 girls.
While the owner is adamant he didn't make the sale, Paul notices his assistant looking increasingly agitated.
Have you seen a young girl, blonde girl, wearing a white jacket come in the store tonight?
Have you got the CCTV you have?
Yeah.
Yep.
I can check and...
Suggest you rewind it back now and have a look while we're standing
really
here.
Sorry about that. If he give our next time, I never give...
Rewind it back now while we're having a look, while we're standing here.
What time you think, sir?
It was approximately 6:40.
6:40.
Excuse me? There they are, there, right there.
This?
Those 2 girls, right there. There you are, making the sale. Is that not you?
Yeah.
And you had a conversation with them, didn't you? About how old they were. When you said to her, how old are you, what did she say?
She said 18 or 20.
Try again.
In South Auckland, District Licensing Officer Paul Radich and Constable Chris Lally have exposed an illegal alcohol sale to minors. But getting anyone to own up is proving difficult.
There you are, making the sale. Is that not you?
Yeah.
How old did she say she was?
She said 18 or 20.
Try again.
Paul is determined to establish the truth.
I just want to be clear about this. You're adamant that those 2 girls told you that they were 18 or 20.
Yeah.
Which one was 20?
She said 18 or 20.
She said she was 18 or 20?
Yeah.
She didn't tell you which one it was?
With the story not adding up, Paul is losing patience.
It's a very simple question.
Yeah.
How old did she say she was?
She don't say. Only she was.
But she bought the alcohol.
Has he had any training? Has he had any training in the sale of liquor?
She bought it together.
She bought the alcohol.
Together.
Right, so she said she was 18 or 20?
Yeah.
So he's done himself secure.
And that's the story that you want to stick with? I suggest you have a chat to him, because if he keeps up with that story, we're going down a path that you won't like. Yeah. Okay?
Tell to them truly what happened that time, because they know about all the arrange everything in there. What they say you, if you do the mistake, then tell to clear.
How old did she tell you she was? Truth this time.
Tell the truth.
15.
She told you she was 15? And you went ahead and did the sale anyway? No, don't look at him, look at me. She told you she was 15 and you sold to her anyway? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Why you sold them? I told you, never give to any underage without check ID. I always told you.
He may have told his staff member not to sell to underage customers, but it still happened. So ultimately, the owner is responsible.
It's your licence, and you're on a temporary authority, and you've got an employee in there who deliberately sold to a 15-year-old girl.
The owner may think he has a case to argue, but this has been one of the most deliberate cases of flouting the rules that Chris and Paul have come across.
The operators will always tell us that it's their first time offence. They always ask for ID. This is just the one time that they've slipped up and we've caught them out, and they've never sold liquor to a minor before and they never will again. And you kind of get tired of hearing that excuse after a while because they all say it, they all do it, we all know that they do it, and we know the first time that they slip up is not, and we catch them, is not the first time they've done it, it's just the first time that they've been caught.
After a hearing with evidence given by Chris and Paul, the Vine Street liquor licence was cancelled by the District Licensing Agency. The premise shut down, and it was unclear if it would reopen. The next morning in Dunedin, Environmental Health Officer Judy Austin has a grubby day ahead. Rubbish that's not collected can become a major health hazard, attracting filthy rodents and harmful diseases. And at the Dunedin City Council, complaints have been coming in thick and fast about students and their rubbish, so Judy is off to investigate.
It's really inappropriate to leave this sitting out on the street like this.
And there's even more rubbish out the back.
Hi. Hey guys, Environmental Health? Can you come to the door, please?
G'day.
Hi. This stuff on the street yours as well?
Yeah, no, it's not ours.
Not yours?
No.
Okay. Alrighty, so...
It's our rubbish there, not the stuff out on the street.
Clean it up, guys, because you can make yourself sick with this.
Yeah, no, sure.
You've heard of leptospirosis? Salmonella?
Yeah, salmonella,
Leptospirosis is worse, a lot worse.
Is it?
Yeah. It's almost like getting meningitis.
Oh, really? Yeah,
7 days
no
of
fun.
intensive care right from the start. So even do yourselves a favour and clean it up.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're looking at a fine.
Oh, really?
Okay.
But it's behind our house and everything, so like...
Yeah, but the thing is it's basically you've got food, you've got rubbish. It's a nuisance under the House Act. I could take that and prosecute you under that if you like.
Yeah, come.
Okay, you've got rubbish, you're going to bring in the rats, okay? Rats and mice will bring in disease.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how come.
Yeah.
Okay, so give it a clean up.
Yeah, sure.
I'm
by
going
the
to be
weekend,
going,
you reckon?
By the weekend, yeah.
Yeah, sweet as.
All right.
Yeah, we'll chuck these guys into the proper bags and everything, send them away.
Right. We'll be back Monday.
As. Yeah.
See ya.
See you around.
With the students facing hefty clean-up fees and fines, Judy leaves with the assurance that all the rubbish will be taken care of. But continuing on to her next call, she's in for a shock.
Oh my God.
On Auckland's North Shore, Environmental Health Officer Fiona Eames is revisiting a cafe where a fly infestation was a danger to public health.
Hi, how are you? That's good. So you had the pest control company come in and they did it. Okay, general protection inside cafe for flies.
A visit from professional pest controllers coupled with a big clean-up makes for a happy health inspector.
If we come in to do an inspection, if it looks like this, then there's not a problem.
Yeah, of course.
Okay?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Much, much better. Yeah. You've cleaned all along the benches as well.
Yeah.
And that's been good.
Fiona may be satisfied this visit, but remember how unhappy the operator was when his A rating was downgraded to a B.
You'll be having that grade for 2 months before we can upgrade you. That is because we have a bylaw that says once you've got downgraded, you have to retain that grade for 2 months before we can give you an upgrade.
Yes, but I think it's unfair for that. You know,
The reason...
look, I know this is by law,
Yeah.
but this by law is unfair for people doing this.
The 2-month wait means a restaurant can't just do a quick clean-up, get graded up, and then let standards lapse again.
Right.
It's unfair treated for us, for the people, or if that is the by law, it's unfair treated.
The people are doing it for small reason like that.
It's also unfair on people that buy food from you if they can walk in here and they see an A grade and it's not up to an A grade standard. So we've got to think on that side too. And it's also unfair if other food premises are doing all they can to treat flies, to keep the place clean, and they get an A grade and you get an A grade as well. That's not fair. That's unfair.
For example, Fiona.
The operator has no choice. He has to wait for 2 months before applying for a regrading.
A lot of people get really upset about their C grade and not having to be able to regrade to a higher grade, but the bylaw clearly states that if they get a C or a D grade, they just cannot regrade until after 2 months.
Over the following months, the operator continued to maintain improved food safety practices and regained an A grade. Meanwhile, back in Dunedin with Environmental Health Officer Judy Austin. She's on the trail of mounting rubbish piles outside student flats.
Oh my God.
This pile is weeks of uncollected household rubbish.
Hello? There doesn't appear to be anyone home, but there's been no attempt to manage their rubbish whatsoever. It's not like a couple of bags that have been broken into by animals. This is pure laziness at its greatest form.
With the landlord living out of town, it's likely he's unaware of the filthy state of his property.
If I owned this property, I think I'd be totally shocked. There has been talk of rats here, and I'm not surprised now being on site. So we're going to take a good look around, get some good photos. I'll be emailing the photos tonight up to the landlord. They look like drop-ins there. Okay. You see how you got the little bites in that bag? So we've definitely got a rodent problem going on here because of this. You don't ever want to touch anything that you suspect have got rodents been through. You can smell the urine. It's a very particular smell with rodents, so you know they've been there. But they carry some really nasty diseases. Salmonella is one of them, leptospirosis is another one. And as you can smell it, you know that they've definitely been there. This is going to be a notice under the Health Act.
In extreme cases like this, where there's a serious danger to public health, the council can insist on immediate action.
Under the Health Act, when you get a Section 29, you can use Section 34, which is abate without notice, which means you can go, it's got to stop right now, got to clean it up right now, and if they fail to do so, we can come in and clean that, but Section 34 allows us to recover our costs. So they would be paying for the clean-up, the removal, and my time.
Sounds like it could be an expensive exercise. With the offending occupants not home, all Judy can do for now is notify of her visit. But we returned a few days later to see what the students have to say for themselves.
There was a Dunedin City Council card on our doorstep the other day, and then yesterday they just appeared. So we can only assume they're dropping subtle hints to make us clean up. They're kind of like, some of it's just stuff that you can't, like, we can't really chuck out that kind of stuff in the rubbish. So we just leave it. And once it gets worse, you just start caring less.
These guys won't be laughing when the fines and the bill for the cleanup arrive in the mail. They need to act now. Judy came back a few days later and was satisfied with the students' cleaning efforts, but she will be keeping a close eye to make sure they don't lapse back into their trashy habits. Tonight, sewage bubbles to the surface on a North Shore property.
You know, that needs to be sorted straight away. There's no ifs or buts.
Sediment runoff from a building site creates a nightmare.
Still haven't got anything in place, and I've spoken to you before.
And in Dunedin, vermin and food don't mix.
It's not boding very well for this bakery, is it?
On Auckland's North Shore, Compliance and Monitoring Officer Graham Jones is heading out for a routine building inspection. But on arrival, the situation turns out to be anything but routine.
As we're walking up to the property, we've noticed that there's some water coming off the berm here, and it looks to be still running. There's evidence of it there running down. There's a bit of a smell to it, so it could potentially be sewage. So when we have a look in the property, we'll have a bit of a look around so that we can find.
Smell is a good indication. Ideally, the effluent would be tested, but that would take valuable time.
There's certainly a bit of a smell to it, but having said that, you can sort of half smell it a little bit around the corner as well, so I don't know. We'll have a look anyway. It might be self-evident when we get inside the property.
Raw sewage is an extremely dangerous risk to public health, so speed is of the essence.
Hiya, I'm Graham Jones from North Shore City Council. Are you aware of any water leak? There's water coming on the pavement there, because there's still water coming out the ground, that's why I was asking.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. I'm not too sure because the landlady came yesterday and she said someone is going to fix it.
We've just parked the car outside. I mean, I've come to look at the deck, but we're parked outside and there's water still coming out of the ground there and running across the pavement, so
Okay.
we'll probably need to have a look at that. I would say that's where the water problem is anyway. But you can see it's definitely still running out wherever it is.
Graham's learned that work was done on the drain the previous day. There's obvious signs of the ground being dug over.
Because it does smell of sewage, you can see it all down the fence line wet. So obviously whatever problem they fixed yesterday hasn't been fixed.
Pathogens found in raw sewage such as norovirus, hepatitis A and salmonella will cause critical illness.
You know, that needs to be sorted straight away. There's no ifs or buts. I suspect probably the sewer's blocked from that point on because it looks to me as if someone's been in it recently, perhaps rotted it through. So it's obviously not worked.
With the blocked section located on the property, responsibility now lies with the owner, who must be notified urgently. Failure to act immediately may result in costly bills and fines. Meanwhile, Environmental Protection Officer Paul White, also from the North Shore City Council, has a busy day ahead. The North Shore region is experiencing more building and construction work than nearly anywhere else in the country. And with all that work comes all kinds of risks to the environment and public health. Today, Paul's heading out for a second visit to a building development, where poor site management is threatening surrounding bush and waterways.
What we have here is just a new development site under construction. They've started about 3 weeks ago. Ideally, you'd like them to install their sediment and silt control just before they start works on site. As they're 3 weeks into it, there's no excuses why they shouldn't have sediment and silt control on site.
Sediment is the fine soil that gets removed by wind and rain. It's a big problem because it blocks up stormwater systems and streams, and it can silt up our estuaries and harbours, causing massive damage to plant and animal life.
This is remnant forest and plantings that North Shore City Council has undertaken. As you can see here, we have just a little stream which ends up becoming a creek and ends up in the Lucas Creek and then through to the Waitemata Harbour and out to the Hauraki Gulf. So by protecting sediment at the source, we end up ensuring that what happens at the end of the line is maintained.
On a neighbouring building site, Paul shows us what's required.
And basically all it is a filter cloth which filters out all the sediment and allows the water to still pass through. And this ends up protecting our waterways. All that needs to be done is dug into the ground. It takes about 2 hours of hard work to put silt fence around the site and probably costs about $200. The alternative is a $750 fine, so you do the maths.
Paul visited this site 3 weeks ago and told them they had to put up a sediment trap.
Yeah, you're the site manager for the site? Yep. Just here to talk about sediment and silt control on site. Still haven't got anything in place. and I've spoken to you before. So yeah, we need to get sediment and silt control in place ASAP.
Despite the previous warning, it appears nothing has been done.
I'll show you just some sediment and silt control that's installed on the other site. It's what I expect.
This is a site manager's last chance. If he doesn't play ball, then he faces a costly penalty and an abatement notice which will legally require him to fix the problem.
Need to try and use the same material as this. So when do you think you can have it installed?
Next week.
Next week? So if I turn up on Wednesday, should be installed? Given the history of the site, we've already spoken to them on 2 previous occasions. They haven't installed anything yet. The onset of rain this weekend, it is likely that an abatement notice and a fine is going to be issued.
Down in Dunedin now, Environmental Health Officers Wayne Boss and Athol Kirk are heading out for a regular day of inspecting. They're part of a team that monitors the safety practices of 640 food premises, 112 hairdressers, 43 beauticians, 10 piercing and tattoo parlours, and even 4 mortuaries. But this morning, Wayne and Athol are visiting a production bakehouse, and it's a surprise inspection.
Hello. Hello. Hi. I'm Wayne. I'm from Environmental Health.
This production bakehouse currently holds a coveted A grade. If they're going to hang on to it, their standards have to be top-notch.
Outside, are these the only areas connected with your business that you use?
Yeah,
right.
The rest is all more.
It's all somebody else. Okay. Champion.
The inspection will begin out the back, where the main storeroom is located.
These are a big part of bakeries because there's absolutely loads of dried ingredients and that. And we're really interested in dry goods stores because they're very, very attractive places for pests and that. Before I go in, I want to always look at the integrity of the structure, that it's vermin proof.
Wayne's not only looking for possible entry points, he's also on the lookout for signs that pests may have already got in, like rat or mice droppings in out-of-the-way places.
So we're in the main dry goods store where all the flour is, and if we have a little look under here, you'll see that there's quite a lot of mice droppings. And the thing is about it, we've got food that's quite open and exposed. If you look at here, this is going to be the fat for the pastry making, and that's perfectly open, right? And it doesn't take a great deal of effort for mice to get chewing through sacks. See there is a mice dropping on top of the sack of flour. Can you see that? That's just too close for comfort, really. I've got mice dropping on top of a bag of flour that's going to go into your pastry to make your pie, and that ain't great.
If there was any doubt about the culprit, Wayne goes from droppings to drop dead.
Oh, you're joking. What a laugh, eh? Yeah, there he is. He's
all desiccated.
Well, he's dried up, eh? He's enjoying himself in here, nice and warm. Well, it's not boding very well for this bakery, is it, at the moment?
On Auckland's North Shore, Building and Compliance Officer Graham Jones had stumbled across a sewage leakage whilst out and about on a routine inspection.
You know, that needs to be sorted straight away. There's no ifs or buts. I suspect probably the sewer's blocked from that point on, because it looks to me as if someone's been in it recently, perhaps rotted it through. And it's obviously not worked.
Following up now is Fiona Eames from the Council's Environment Health Team and contractors organised by a responsible and fast-acting landlord. Drain technicians Ryan and Andy are experts at dealing with sewage leaks. They soon notice a problem around the pipe joins at the base of the concrete drain.
The pipes have come apart and we've got heavy root intrusion pretty much. There to reseal the channel with epoxy resin.
Tree roots and sewage pipes aren't a happy mix. Roots are attracted to water, especially water rich in nutrients.
Probably 90% of our work is root intrusion in sewer pipes.
Raw sewage is a health hazard because once it hits the surface, a lot of people can just walk through it and get exposed to a lot of pathogenic bacteria, get sick. In this case, it was flowing across here, under the fence and across the footpath. Kids walk through that, ride their bikes, play, and no one would be any the wiser. Sometimes it can smell pretty gross and that gives it away and people avoid it, but other times it doesn't.
Before they can begin repairs, Ryan and Andy need to clean all the surfaces they're going to be working on.
What we're going to do is use a 2-part epoxy, mix it up, and it sets like harder than concrete, sets like steel, and it's easier to knead into place rather than using cement, because the cement stays wet and it can be washed away when the drain's used. So this stuff's the best to use in this situation and does a better job.
But being a drain technician doesn't come without its hazards.
Worst thing, probably getting covered in shit, pretty much. Just heat splashback, real bad splashback, and that's not nice. We've seen people come and try and do this job, they've lasted 2 days. Yeah. Can't put up with it, never come back.
An exceptionally smelly job, yes, but there are also some very real risks.
But the worst one we've ever come across is Weir's disease, which is rat urine. You get that, and if you don't catch it quick enough, discover what you've got, you're dead within 48 hours. So it's not a good one.
Better known as leptospirosis, animal urine, if breathed into the lungs or passed through skin, mouth, eyes or nose, is extremely dangerous and can be deadly.
Due to the nature of the job and the germs and diseases, we have to have regular inoculations for different diseases, hepatitis being one of them, and then there's your tetanus, polio, typhoid, so we've got to be pretty well covered. Last thing you want to do is get one of them.
So with the epoxy putty coating all of the cracks and broken joints and creating a perfect seal, Fiona's more than satisfied.
Thanks heaps.
And the sewage is now moving freely again, down in the wastewater system where it belongs, well clear of the unsuspecting public.
It's all done, there's no overflow, wastewater overflow, so nothing's going to get into the stormwater drains and end up in a creek and a beach somewhere, so that problem's been solved.
Back with Environmental Protection Officer Paul White. He's overseeing the removal of just some of the sediment that's caused by lack of control on North Shore housing developments.
What this is a stormwater pond, which is being created in response to the development in this catchment.
There are over 1,500 building projects underway on the North Shore. Many involve excavation. Without control, there's a high chance of sediment runoff into one of the region's 11,000 stormwater drains.
This is the sediment that's entered the stormwater system, and we've been able to capture it here before it enters our streams and rivers.
Not only is it a costly exercise emptying these ponds, a lot of stormwater doesn't pass through catchment ponds. That's why Paul and other council inspectors have to ensure builders follow the regulations on sediment control. He'll need to go back to check on the site. Meanwhile, down in Dunedin, Environmental Health Officer Wayne Boss is continuing his inspection of a bakery with a rodent problem.
Well, it's not boding very well for this bakery, is it, at the moment?
Capable of transmitting hundreds of diseases, rodents are a serious health risk and need to be properly controlled. The evidence here suggests the operator has been trying to manage them himself.
For me, what I've seen, it just looks like homemade boxes. It just looks like a self-done job. The problem is of a self-done job is anybody who's running this business checking for evidence rather than just putting the bait down there. We're not just putting the dinner down and inviting them. We should be checking, and as a business owner, the evidence from what I've seen is not checking, because you'd find this sort of thing.
So to ensure public safety, Wayne needs to have a stern word with the operator and take immediate action under the Dunedin City bylaws.
I'm glad you've joined us. I was just coming to get you.
Yeah.
You got a bit of a problem.
What's that?
Well, you got furry friends here.
Hey?
I've just pulled him out from underneath there, right? You've got droppings all underneath shelving here, and you've got a dropping on top of your flour bag there.
Oh, they must just be fresh, mate.
Yeah, that's what I'm interested in. I think it's fresh. There's enough.
Because I have been checking and I haven't.
Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't seen any signs.
Have you seen the ones under there? Get your torch. Just have a squint at the amount under there.
Oh, there's quite a few there, isn't there?
There is, isn't there? This is the scenario, right? Food businesses and vermin don't go together.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree, mate.
Which you know.
Back in Dunedin with Health Inspector Wayne Boss.
I've just pulled him out from underneath there. Right. You've got droppings all underneath shelving here. And you've got a dropping on top of your flour bag there.
Oh, they must just be fresh, mate.
There's a rodent problem in a bakehouse, and Wayne is about to deliver a plan of action to the operator.
So the picture's not looking rosy for you because you're going to be closed.
Hey?
You're going to be closed. There's no way we can have a bakery running with an active vermin infestation, right? But what I want to talk about is the measures that you can take to turn this round, right? But you're not going to be producing any more food from me until we've got this turned round, right?
This is going to be hard on the operator, but Wayne's concern has to be public safety.
Here's what I think you need to do. Number one, you need to engage the services of a professional pest control contractor, right?
In addition to this, the storeroom must be completely cleared out.
You need to be able to see every wall, floor, junction, ceiling, and really look to see if there's absolutely no holes, no gaps where they could get in, and they only need to be as big as your finger.
Wayne continues the inspection in the bakery area, checking for more signs of dirt and pests.
Really poor cleaning now, beneath and behind a lot of their units and that. I expect a bakery to have a fair bit of dust, but what I'm seeing in there is stuff that's accumulated over days and days and days and days. It's just nowhere near. They're not on the game at all. Currently, the existing licence with Dunedin City Council, the premises was trading as a Grade A premises. That visit was done a year ago. So a lot can change in a year. And obviously what's clearly evident today is he took his eye off the plot, really. Which is disappointing, really disappointing. But I think he shares that disappointment as well. So that's a shame. We'll work with him to try and get him back up to that, but he won't get back to an A nor a. You don't jump from a sufficient reasons to close a premises to an excellent standard of an A. It'll probably take him at least a year, if not more, to get back to that standard.
Back on Auckland's North Shore, Environmental Protection Officer Paul White is revisiting a problem building site. After repeated attempts to get the site manager to put in a system that controls sediment runoff, this is the operator's last chance before a $750 fine and abatement notice will be issued. And surprise, surprise.
So what we can actually see, they've actually installed silt fence on site. As you can see, it's actually been dug into the ground, sitting up high and upright. The waratahs are spaced quite nicely. It's hard up against the reserve boundary as well. The crucial bits are the lowest points. Water naturally flows downhill, and so there's going to be a collection point somewhere. So we've got to make sure that that area in particular is dug into the ground. It's not looking too bad. It's actually installed pretty well in comparison to a few other sites that we come across. It's nicely dug in, it's nice and taut. So you know that the silt fence is going to work, it's going to do its job.
Finally, a good result for Paul. Environmental protection measures are in place.
The threat of an abatement notice did get the desired effect, and that was the installation of sediment and silt control on site.
So the site manager narrowly escapes penalties this time, but he will remain under the close eye of Paul and the environmental protection team.
Because you've already installed it, there's no fine given to you today. Yeah. But basically what this is telling you that if it fails for any reason or you don't maintain it correctly, then you do get a fine and it's instant. But that's the covering letter, and this is your abatement notice.
It's 1 day since Dunedin Environmental Health Officers Wayne Boss and Athol Kirk closed down a production bakehouse after discovering a serious vermin infestation.
So the picture's not looking rosy for you because you're going to be closed.
Hey?
You're going to be closed. There's no way we can have a bakery running with an active vermin infestation, right?
But today, things couldn't be more different. Professional pest controllers have been hard at work, coupled with a cleaning overhaul.
So that's real good, a real massive improvement from yesterday. Cleaned absolutely everywhere, sanitised it. You can actually smell the genola bleach in the air. All food's removed from the storage area. There's no food in there, there's nothing in there. He did find a couple of holes. He's plugged those up. We've checked over 7 different pest bait stations and there's been no take of the bait. So we're really pleased with that. We want to see a little bit more consistency with the rear store, that it's cleared over the next few days. So we've told him to keep that out of use, no storage in there, but he can start production in his bakery, which was clear from pests yesterday, and keep all the stock in there, and we'll come back early next week.
Over the following months, the operator continued to work with Wayne and the team on improving his food safety practices and is now operating with a B grade. Tonight, a routine spot check turned slimy in Dunedin.
Whereas I do have slime. No, that's slime.
Liquor licence checks get ugly in South Auckland.
That's the one I'm gonna need, right there.
And what lies beneath the surface in Upper Hutt.
What is exactly contained in the landfill, we don't know.
In South Auckland, District Licensing Officer Paul Radich and Constable Chris Lally are preparing for a late night ahead. Responsible for monitoring more than 400 bars, the protective vests are essential.
The environment that we're working in, you'd be amazed how many people carry screwdrivers and knives in the back of their pockets, plus they've all got bottles as well, so it's very easy to smash a bottle and have a crack, so it's one of our OSH requirements that we wear every time we do a night shift. It's uncomfortable as hell.
Tonight, Chris and Paul will be undertaking routine liquor licence inspections. It's their job to ensure appropriate systems are in place to keep patrons safe. With no prior warning, the Smart Bar in Pukekohe won't be prepared for this visit. Although the bar's not based in Paul's normal area of Manukau, he provides support for Chris in what can sometimes become a hostile situation and acts as witness should matters be taken further with the Liquor Licence Authority. Immediately, an intoxicated man comes to their attention. But has he come to the attention of the duty manager?
Why is he in that state if he's not drinking?
He's only just walked in.
Oh, so how did he get in?
I don't know.
But it's your job to know. You're the duty manager.
I can't see everybody, can I?
It's your role to see them. It's not your role to be behind the bar.
A duty manager must maintain a safe, controlled environment at all times.
Your job is to work out there on the floor, making sure people like him don't get in, so you need to sort it.
But just when Chris is making progress with the duty manager, one of the owners decides to join in.
No, it's not my job to point all of the people out. She's the duty manager.
I know, but point them out to us and we'll remove them properly.
What?
Is anyone intoxicated there or not?
Yes, they are.
Well, let's remove them, because they're not allowed to be in there. Come on, let's go and remove them.
The owner wants Chris and Paul to identify the drunks, but that's not their job. That falls on the duty manager.
Come on, let's go and remove them.
You're not listening to what I'm saying.
I am.
Okay?
This is what you're saying.
Right.
If they're intoxicated, Janice, we'll remove them.
Right, listen to what I'm saying.
Point them out, remove them.
A busy night, the duty manager should not be behind the bar. Their role...
The states that she shouldn't work behind the bar.
Well,
behind the bar, you've got a view of everyone. He's the duty manager.
To make matters worse, bystanders start getting aggressive.
But she does a fantastic job.
No, you don't need to be here, right? I don't care what you're doing.
Who gives you the right to do this?
Sorry, you're not allowed to touch the camera.
I don't care. Who gives you the right to do what you're doing?
Please step away from the camera.
Who gives you the right to do what you're doing? No. Go on
Eventually, our security steps in to stop the belligerent woman from assaulting our cameraman.
Don't touch me, I'll have you up for assault if you touch me.
Just don't touch me.
If you touch me, I'll have you up for assault. If you touch me, I'll have you up for assault.
Yeah, just stay away from the camera, please.
Finally, the woman gives up. Paul and Chris leave, having achieved as much as they can here.
Clearly, there are people who are intoxicated in there. They don't want to accept that. So, as a result, we get a licensee arguing with a constable and all the hangers-on joining on, and it just gets completely out of control.
They have a difficult job, getting bar owners and managers to appreciate the law in a hyped-up environment of alcohol, noise and excited people.
I don't see the duty manager's role as to be behind the bar serving drinks. Their role is to run the bar. They're the ones who are responsible for enforcing the Sale of Liquor Act, and that's in legislation. So it all goes back to the duty manager. Now the licensee was just butting in and trying to argue the point. He just didn't understand that, so it's quite a concern, really.
The bar will now face a shake-up or severe penalties could follow. But for now, Chris and Paul must press on to the next unsuspecting bar, and it's one with a dodgy history.
They went through the ringer a couple of years ago now, where the car park was just full of people drinking in the car parks, fights, disorders, stabbings, and team policing, and the whole of the Mangere police were always here on locking up people for breaches of the liquor ban. The way they fixed it was basically to close off that car park and stop people bringing alcohol in, which basically it solved the problem.
But the word's out that unruly nights are happening again at Apia Way, and just like before, a young intoxicated crowd is taking over the car park.
Top. There you go. All good? Who's the manager on tonight? Sorry? Who's the manager on tonight? Do you want to grab it for me?
Guys, you guys have a good time? No, you didn't even the followers fucking open. Yeah? Right? If you want to talk to our bouncer, this is our local bouncer, man.
Waiting for the duty manager, Chris and Paul are accosted by an intoxicated man. It's scenes like this that are sadly becoming more prevalent right across the country.
Do you know the moves? Do you know the moves, mate?
No, mate, I can't dance.
You're a pommy, mate. That's why. What's up?
This bar has only one doorman to check people going in and control people in the car park. With a number of drunk patrons hanging around, Chris and Paul don't feel safe going in, so they meet the duty manager outside.
How many people have you got up in the bar? Roughly.
300 or 200. As duty manager, she should have a much clearer idea of how many people are in her bar. And let's not forget all the extra people in the car park. The crowd are becoming increasingly hostile. Our cameraman takes a knock from the intoxicated man we encountered at the entrance.
Oi. Mate, you're not impressing anyone, eh?
With just 2 officers, if things did blow up here, it could easily turn nasty.
It's getting a bit carried away here. We might get you guys in the car and we'll try again. TP on?
Body, mate. I'll f***ing eat you. I'll eat you, mate. Go. I'll eat you. Right there. Oh, your friend. Put the camera on your friend. But that's the one I'm gonna eat right now. Yeah, if you guys keen on, you know, is that what you guys want? You guys want some cannibal chips? You know what I mean? You know, that's what I want. You know, I want to eat somebody. And I'll
get in the car.
With safety now paramount, Chris and Paul must leave the scene, but they're by no means finished with the Apia Way bar.
That place has only got one busy night, and they cram as much booze down people's throats as humanly possible on that one night to make money. And that's the result. Now, I mean, there's never been a bar in the city that we haven't been able to get into, cameras or no cameras. That is just not good enough. And if we'd got upstairs, God knows what would have happened.
Hey, how are you?
Chris and Paul later call an urgent meeting with the owners. They're told they face having their bar licence revoked if they don't act immediately to control the disorder. Prompt action from the owners saw security improve and better crowd control, and Apia Way returned to being a safe place for patrons. At Greater Wellington Regional Council, Environmental Protection Officer Trudy Richards is responding to an urgent call from an Upper Hutt forestry company. Moonshine Forestry have reported discovering leachate, that's liquid draining or leaching from landfill. Depending on the age of the landfill and what kind of waste is in it, it can contain dangerous chemicals.
It was reported to us this morning that there'd been some earthworks in Moonshine, and we've come out here to have a look at the leachate that the earthworks have disturbed.
Recent heavy rain has caused the leaching, and the worry is it may contain highly toxic hydrocarbons. There's a risk the hydrocarbons could get washed into the stream at the bottom of the site and then into other waterways.
The leachate could possibly be coming from an old landfill. We're not entirely sure of the source at the moment. What is exactly contained in the landfill, we don't know. What's contained in the leachate, we don't know. I'll need to take some samples to try and figure that out and determine what's going on.
Old landfill sites are dotted all over the country. They can look okay on top, but underneath there can be more sinister things going on.
This started when you started doing the tracking?
Yeah, it seemed to get worse with it because we just opened the ground up and we can see it. It's been happening all along, I don't know, because it actually extends right out over this flat, under these pine trees that have fallen here, it goes right out that way.
This area is known to contain many old landfills. Their exact location, however, is not known, until they are discovered, like this one, by accident.
Where have you found the rubbish, the concrete and the...
There's some just up here, where they've done a bit of bulldozing work here and stopped, and some right on top.
Okay.
So it looks as if that and this area here was being used as a landfill. Landfill in this area dates back to the 60s and 70s, which is a big worry. There were lots of dangerous chemicals in use then, and there weren't the controls in place around how to dispose of them.
I know it was old General Motors dump of car parts, old car bodies and the like.
Toxic chemicals running into streams and waterways can cause widespread destruction of plants and animals. The good news is that the manager and his team have acted quickly to prevent spread of the leachate.
They're doing the right things, containing it with the fences and the sorbents.
A small pit has been dug to contain the leachate, geomesh installed to catch larger sediment, and pads placed to mop up any hydrocarbon. The pads aren't showing any evidence of hydrocarbons, but Trudy needs to collect samples for a more thorough analysis.
Yuck. So now I'll need to take this to our lab in Seaview, and ELS will analyse it and hopefully tell us what the leachate contains.
Until they know exactly what is leaching out of the landfill, the potential for an environmental crisis is still extremely high.
If you look at the surface, it looks like kind of a spider web, which may be indicative of the kind of contaminants that are in there.
Meanwhile, in Dunedin, Environmental Health Officer Judy Austin is heading out for a routine spot check at a fish and chip shop, Den's Takeaway. With popularity for fast food on the rise, so too is the rate of food poisoning, now estimated to be costing the country a staggering $83 million a year.
Hello, I'm from Environmental Health.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm here to do a spot inspection. Okay, it's not a full annual inspection today, it's just a wee look around to make sure everything's okay. So I'm going to start at the back and make my way through.
Spot checks are usually performed on premises that have demonstrated poor food safety in the past. But Dens currently carries a respectable grade B, so Judy starts with high hopes.
I'm just trying to see what we've actually got in here. Food bags. How food bags are stored does matter, because everything gets on them, they can be contaminated. We like to treat food bags exactly like food.
Out back is a rabbit warren of rooms, with disturbing signs that it's not being cleaned too often.
Where you've got cobwebs building up around food.
From grubby containers to exposed food, the signs of neglect are ongoing. In the next storage room, the chaos and disorder are just as bad.
An incredible smell coming out of here. It's particularly unpleasant, and I'd say it's your own personal food. You know that even though it's your personal food, it still comes under our jurisdiction.
We don't use it out in the shop.
Okay.
It's just ourselves.
Right. Okay.
This is all Chinese stuff.
Right. What about all this here?
What's that?
The food along here?
All these are our personal stuff, yeah.
They're all your personal stuff? And like the tomato sauce? And
yeah, that goes out in the shop, yeah.
It does go out in the shop.
Not only is the owner mixing personal food stuff with restaurant food, he's also storing items here that shouldn't be anywhere near edible products.
Like we've got tools, there's chemicals, which is clearly marked poison. So if you had some, you can feel it on the outside, if it had gone in there wet, it could have dropped it. I mean, you just don't store chemicals in food areas.
While poisonous chemicals may be a no-no, cleaning chemicals, on the other hand, are a necessity.
I was talking about food-grade chemicals before, which are stored out here. However, sadly, they're just building up in dust. They're not being used. Like this one looks like it could be 06 or 07. You should be going through several containers of that a year, quite a few, because cleaning's a daily requirement.
Back at Moonshine Forestry, Environmental Protection Officer Trudy Richards has responded to an urgent call about landfill leachate that is potentially laced with deadly chemicals.
Basically, that leachate could contain anything. We won't know until we've got the sample results analysed and back from the lab. But it's an old landfill, there could be anything in there. We don't know. It's from dating back to the 70s, probably 60s. So if that gets into the stream, it's obviously going to be quite detrimental to any aquatic life in there and the habitat.
Although the forestry company is doing all the right things to manage the problem, the risks to the environment are high, so Trudy must still take action.
For now, I think it's fine. I'm going to issue an advisory notice to Graham to say that the leachate needs to be contained and no discharges to the stream down the bottom.
Well, we'll certainly do our best.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you for calling it in.
The advisory notice is official warning that the leachate must be contained and disposed of appropriately, or heavy fines could follow.
We're very lucky in this instance that they're very, happy to work with us, and they've reported it to us, so if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't even know about it.
Life's always changing, life's always a little challenge, so yeah, just got to deal with it. It just gives us another headache and more costs.
Trudy revisited the site the following week. Despite heavy rainfall, the measures in place had adequately prevented further flow of leachate, and wetland trees were planned to absorb any remaining hydrocarbons. Back at Den's Takeaway in Dunedin with Health Inspector Judy Austin.
To be honest, the inspection's not going that well. Sadly, the food protection as well as the cleaning areas, the points are declining quite rapidly.
But Judy's only just begun. Maintaining hygiene requires regular cleaning of every piece of equipment.
That's fairly new, it hasn't turned into slime. It should still be washed between each and every use. They're a very hard item whereas I do have slime. No, that's slime. Starch, some mud and potato skins, and it's sitting right under the plate itself.
Every single potato is peeled through this machine, and that puts nearly every customer at risk.
But one of the problems is you do end up with some areas that if it's not taken apart and cleaned regularly, that you can get a mixture of, like I say, starch, slime and mud.
And the blatant lack of food safety continues.
Okay, we've got no dating, so there's no stock rotation. So they couldn't actually advise me of and prove how old this food is. Everything needs to be dated for the day it goes in, plus the day it comes out. We've got food stored in open tin cans.
The food safety practices and the cleaning are dangerously below par, which is surprising because they have a weekly cleaning plan.
You can have a cleaning schedule up and you will get points for that. However, if it's not reflected in the premises, it really doesn't. It's like having all your cleaners and everything else. If it's not being used, it's not achieving anything. One of the things with the food premises is things have to continuously be cleaned. You know, it's not an occasional thing.
Judy may have had high hopes for dens initially, but the inspection has proved otherwise, and it's time to deliver the bad news of a downgrade.
It's an open D, but I'm not closing you. All it's doing is showing your customers or the public, which they do have a right to know, what your grade is. It's just a current grade. It's not a closure. So you can continue to operate.
But with a D, if people normally see the D, they go down the road.
There will be a certain loss. I understand that, but however, we can't change that. You know, you didn't get the points, so it remains.
A lot of customers see some of the other takeaway shops much untidy than this.
Yeah. And they get visited. Yeah. Okay. I can't discuss other food premises with you. It's like you wouldn't expect me to go and talk to another food premises about you. So we'll have to leave that one where it belongs, okay? He's a D, so we have to display a current grade, and the Ds do actually go on the door because there is a reasonable risk. However, not serious enough as an imminent risk to public health to close him, but very much an open D, which also gives him the opportunity to do the conduct and work his way out of it.
3 days later, Judy revisited Den's takeaways. A concerted effort to clean up and reorganise his stock had the operator regraded to a satisfactory C. Tonight, a hidden health risk is discovered in Auckland.
Oh, that doesn't look too good.
A Dunedin chicken processing factory is a sanitation nightmare.
Geez, it's coming from in here. Geez, it stinks too.
Oh dear, there's going to have to be some changes here.
And dumped rubbish in a public area. But who dumped it?
You can tell a lot about the person by what they're throwing out.
At Auckland's North Shore City Council, Environmental Health Officer Fiona Eames is dealing with the ongoing problem of 3 restaurants at Wairoa Park that are creating a hazard with their disposal of waste.
We're off to check out a grease trap that has been a continuous problem, nightmare of overflowing occasionally.
Dating back to Victorian times, grease traps are simple devices designed to catch solids, fats and oils before they can get into the wastewater disposal system and pollute the environment.
We don't want grease going into the wastewater mains because it can cause blockages, and if a wastewater main is blocked, then that can then cause a backflow of wastewater which can spill out on the street.
Fiona knows of numerous incidents at this next site where that kind of backflow has occurred.
In the past, people driving on State Highway 1 have seen the grease actually overflowing over the side, the embankment, and then ending up on State Highway 1 and getting into the stormwater drain.
It's been an ongoing issue. The reason it hasn't been fixed is the shop owners are in dispute with the body corporate over who is responsible for fixing it.
3 of the shops share one grease trap, and that's the grease trap we've got problems with. The other 2 have their own grease traps.
Fiona is adamant today that someone must take action, or costly fines will follow.
A good grease trap generally tends to look like this. It's sealed, it gets cleaned out regularly, there's no odour, there's no health nuisance, and doesn't cause any harm.
While 2 of the 5 restaurants aren't part of the grease trap problem, all 5 store old cooking oil in this storage area. And Fiona's concerned that it's another possible environmental hazard.
This is where they store their oil drums, and every time it rains, the fat gets mixed in with the rainwater and it spills over and it creates this black surface on the ground.
The mixture of oil and water is soaking into the soil, and during heavy rain there's a good chance it could flow into nearby drains and waterways.
It smells a lot, and as you can see, this is what happens every time it rains. There's a big downpour. That's what it looks like.
A simple roof structure over the oil drums will prevent rain mixing with the oil and making a mess, but the grease trap, on the other hand, is not such an easy fix.
This is the grease trap that 3 restaurants share. Now, from what you can see here, it has overflowed in the past. Because it's so filthy and mucky, it's just an ideal place to attract all sorts of pests, rodents and nasties. Oh, that doesn't look too good. Every time a restaurant flushes something down their sinks, their drains, they're cleaning greasy, oily fry pans and stuff like that, this is where it all ends up. And that's what that looks like.
Fats and oils, if allowed to escape into an aquatic environment, will deplete oxygen from the water, suffocating plants and animals that live there, and ruining it as an area for human recreation.
Every grease trap is usually divided into chambers. So all the wastewater that comes from the restaurants goes into this chamber first, and it's sort of like what you could describe as a filtration kind of thing where the grease gradually separates. So here you've got a lot of grease, minimal grease, it flows through to the next chamber, it gets lessened, and then lesser, and then there's just liquid here. And then that can flow to the wastewater station and get treated a lot easier than this muck here.
But when a grease trap fills up too rapidly and overflows like this one, the filtration process fails. All the muck mixes together and a dangerous concoction seeps out into the environment.
Just looking at this and comparing it to the first one, the size is just too small. It just cannot service 3 restaurants. This looks like it's close to the top already.
Until a more permanent measure is put in place, Fiona wants the grease trap pumped out regularly.
We don't want it overflowing again, going down that bank down there and reaching the stormwater grate, which is beside the road. Oh, it's so glamorous. I just love this job.
Yes, but it's a very important job, ensuring that situations like this aren't allowed to go unchecked. Now Fiona is going to do everything in her power to make it right.
The way things are looking now, this is totally unacceptable. It's really dirty, filthy. There's an ongoing problem with overflowing, hasn't been rectified. This area needs a good clean-up.
Meanwhile in Dunedin, environmental health officers Wayne Boss and Amber Marie Marsh are heading out for a surprise health inspection. There are over 640 food premises in Dunedin City. The environmental health officers carry out more than 1,100 visits to these premises annually and investigate over 110 complaints, ranging from food poisoning and sanitation to filth and rodents.
Hello, how are you?
Food premises must comply with food safety regulations and are graded as excellent, good, adequate or poor.
I'll tell you what we're here for, just to do your annual inspection.
Oh, yeah. Today, Wayne and Amber are visiting a chicken processing plant, currently holding a C grade. That means it's just adequate, which doesn't inspire a lot of confidence for today's inspection.
Let's have a look in this staff room. I wonder if there's some hot water to the place.
Oh, jeez, it's all leaking through in here. Good thing I've got my gummies on. Jeez. It's coming from in here. Jeez, it stinks too.
Serious structural problems with the building are causing water to pour through the walls, making the bathroom an unsanitary mess.
Just check the washing basin. Any water? Oh, man. Any hot water?
There's hot water, lovely hot water.
Oh, well, there's a bonus.
There's no washing facilities here. You've got no soap. You've got a towel to dry your hands with. Jeez, it's dirty.
Is that filling up?
It's filling up, but it's not draining. It's all blocked. It's really important to be washing your hands, you know, every time after the toilet, and we should be looking at washing basin in the processing room as well. And that's just a standard that we require for obvious reasons.
Unfortunately, the washing facilities don't get any better in the processing room.
There's no soap in there, and there's no soap in there.
These handles are gross. They're really grimy. And this must be a nail brush. Oh, here we go, it's over here. You really wouldn't want to use that for anything, actually.
There's nothing, no sanitiser or hand detergent to wash your hands in, and no means of drying them. So what the tendency is, you can pick up rags like this to dry your hands, which are not good.
And everything actually looks grubby, even the hand washing facilities in the basin looks grubby. So you're sort of starting off with grubby facilities before you start to wash your hands.
The poor standard of the cleaning facilities could mean some nasty surprises for consumers if harmful bacteria are transferred from hands to food. But in the freezer, it's Wayne and Amber who get the surprise.
What have we got here?
Cooked chicken.
Raw chicken is rife with Campylobacter, a bacteria that causes serious food poisoning. If the juices from uncooked chicken contaminated cooked food, then someone could become extremely ill.
That's quite spooky. It's a whole new ball game now because cooked chicken, ready to go, and if there's been any cross-contamination on that product, that can be really high risk to eat, and that food probably won't be cooked at home. It's ready to go, so it's scary.
From the Dunedin City Council, Environmental Health Officers Wayne Boss and Amber Marie Marsh have made the discovery of cooked chicken in a raw chicken processing factory.
That's quite spooky. It's a whole new ball game now because that food probably won't be cooked at home. It's ready to go, so it's scary.
If uncooked chicken contaminates cooked chicken, people could become dangerously ill.
Hello.
Wayne and Amber are joined by the operator's son and can now voice their concerns in the hope of prompt action.
I can see cooked smoked chicken pieces there.
Yep.
Do you do those here?
We come from Christchurch, those there. Younger brother's got a factory up there.
So let me just get clear in my own head. All of the product that you handle here, cut and distribute here is raw product except for
We're
that.
just dealing with the raw side of it, yep.
Assured now that the cooked meat is prepared and packaged off-site, Wayne and Amber can be confident that there's no risk of cross-contamination.
It's a fair bit more for us to look at, but what I'm worried at the moment, you're currently sitting on a C grade, right?
Yep.
And the way it's looking at the moment, with how poor the standard is, it might not even come out as that.
Okay.
So you know what that means, don't you?
Yeah.
Potentially you're closed.
Also in Dunedin, Waste Control Supervisor Peter Moroney and contractor Karen Woods are investigating cases of illegally dumped rubbish. Litter along our roads, in our parks and in our public spaces is not just an eyesore, it's a serious health and safety risk.
Wait, there's something over here.
Today, Peter and Karen have received a tip-off about a deliberate dumping of rubbish in one of Dunedin's central bush reserves.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of bags in the bush down there.
Oh, there's two.
I think there's a few more than
We've
a
got
couple.
quite a few, haven't we?
With this kind of dumping on the increase, Peter and Karen's job is to track down the offender.
What we'll do is we'll pick this up and we'll take this across and have a look at it in the truck anyway, so we'll clear it out and hopefully we might find something. We might find some identification or who's dumped it.
80% of the time, Peter successfully identifies the culprit, leading to a hefty fine. It doesn't make a lot of sense considering there's a weekly rubbish collection.
It's a lot easier for people just to put it in a DCC, a compliant rubbish bag, and put it out for collection instead of spending that money on petrol on time to go and dump it.
The Dunedin City Council provides bags for curbside litter collection and for appropriate disposal of waste, but illegal rubbish dumping is still common.
It's crazy that people will actually go and pay for the bags and then they haven't put them out on time, or they're going away for the weekend and they just go and tip them in the bush area after they pay for them.
The problem of illegal dumping has soared in recent years, and nationally the annual bill for removing it from streets, waterways and open spaces is estimated at over $2 million. With a ute full of rubbish, Peter and Kieran head back to base where the real dirty work will begin. Back in Auckland, and Fiona has grave concerns about an overflowing grease trap and exposed oil drums, both of which pose a serious risk to the environment.
Oh, that doesn't look too good.
The good news is she's managed to get all the operators together for a meeting.
So we'll start off with the oil drums first, because the oil drums, they're shared by all of these businesses, is that right?
That's right.
The operators claim the body corporate is hindering progress by failing to release funds for the fix-up.
We definitely need that roof over the top. And after that roof gets put in, it needs a real big, thorough clean. Okay, the other thing, it's the grease trap. Has the landlord or the body corp got back on what they want to do?
No. The operators say their hands are tied with the body corporate unwilling to act, but Fiona is telling them they can be held accountable.
You see me come out here so often just addressing that, and the reason why is that there's also a lot of legal responsibility on the operator's behalf, and this means there can be fines involved.
Fiona's having an impact. The operators agree to action an immediate meeting with the body corporate, where they will resolve the drum storage and grease trap problems.
Okay, that's good. Hey, thank you so much for that. Take care. Hey, thank you. All right, thanks. Yeah.
Stop by Wednesday.
Yeah, I will. Cheers. Well, I thought that meeting went really, really well. The operators are all on board. They understand what needs to be done. They realise that there's consequences and hefty fines that they could get if nothing's rectified.
Fiona revisited 2 months later and discovered progress had been made, with one of the operators now running the body corporate. The result, a clean site, a roof installed over the drums, and a new improved grease trap adequately servicing the restaurants and protecting the environment. In Dunedin, Peter and Kieran are recovering illegally dumped rubbish, and back at base, they're doing some detective work.
Doing the real messy part of the job. We're looking through the rubbish to see if we can find a name.
Most of the time they'll throw out an electricity bill or a telephone bill and you can track them back that way. I always find it quite amazing how they can afford to buy a lot of KFC and takeaways and fizzy drink and flash ice creams and not afford to buy a black bag.
After the unpleasant task of sifting through other people's trash, their persistence pays off.
This looks like some here, Peter.
Oh, excellent one.
Peter and Kieran finally have the hard evidence they need.
Here I've got a name, an address.
The offender will be issued with an infringement notice and fined $100, and they won't be the first.
I mean, we've already filled out 4 books. I think there's about, 5 books, and there's about 50 fines in each book.
With well over 200 separate offences in just 5 months, it shows the scale of the problem. Across town, Wayne and Amber have discovered serious health risks at a poultry processing factory.
There's no washing facilities here. You've got no soap. You've got a towel to dry your hands with.
So how's the pest control?
Ah, yeah, really professional, yeah. Just your own little boxes. If I were to pull this out and examine it, would you know whether it's been eaten or not? You wouldn't?
Well, if it's half gone, it's been eaten. Yeah, no pests.
Good, ain't it? That's good, ain't it? But I have the feeling, right?
I'm quite happy.
I know, but there's droppings there, though. Can you see?
Yep.
So when you say you're quite happy, that's more by luck than judgment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, but these are mice droppings.
Yep. it's very hard to keep mice out though as well. You've got to understand.
Well, it would be with a building as tatty as this, it would.
No, it's you keep them out of your home or anything. They come in for the walks.
But you're talking about you're a food business.
I understand what you're saying.
Having inspected their poor attempt at rodent control, Wayne is now obliged to use their less than satisfactory hand washing facilities.
Where's your soap here then? There. Oh, dear me. It's a bit poor, and it's supposed to be a sanitiser one in a premises like this.
Oh, yeah.
I know you keep saying yes, but it's not here now.
I'm just saying yes, so that I know we can fix that. And
what do I dry my hands on?
What's the towel there?
That's a towel. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember, poultry processing carries a high risk of contamination with pathogenic organisms like Campylobacter, so basic sanitation is critical.
Let's have a look in here. Where? Why are we paddling in blood down here?
This here gets squeegeed out fairly regularly. It gets smocked as well.
This is all your frozen products thawing, isn't it?
Well, there's a couple of pallets, or that pallet there is frozen.
So that was a delivery frozen to you?
It's frozen, comes in frozen, yeah.
Although it's important to defrost the chicken slowly at the correct temperature, it's equally important to properly clear away the bloody runoff into the drains.
These are the drains.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, dear me. Right. So when did you last have these serviced and cleaned out?
They get pumped out probably every 3 months or so.
This is in no way, shape or form correct, right?
Okay,
because this is onto your drainage and that, and it should have a proper lid to both of them.
Okay.
Anything onto drainage, like an inspection chamber, manhole, grease trap, whatever, should have proper...
what's a proper lid?
Like a metal plate.
Well, they're usually fixed down, yeah?
Yeah.
So that they're only...
It's a safety thing
sealed.
too.
But the thing is, as well, is there a real vermin risk to you when you've got open drains like that with access?
They're not open.
Yeah, but they're not in a fashion with a slab and a board over here.
The inspection is not going well, but there's still the main chiller to go.
Come on then, let's stun ourselves and look at your chiller.
So what's in here?
Oh dear, there's going to have to be some changes here. Look at the great big block of meat that's just unwrapped completely.
It was just thrown in.
Thrown in. Tell me, looking at that though, what do you think I think about when it was last cleaned?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's a shocker, that, isn't it?
It is a shocker, and I'm more embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed for you, actually.
And there could be more embarrassment to come, because hidden amongst the clutter and idle machinery in the backyard is a chicken smoker, used for processing meat like the cooked chicken found inside, which they say is from Christchurch.
If this is not used, I'd expect to see that gas bottle off as well.
Even accepting that they're no longer using the smoker, the fact that it's not clean means it's a potential snack bar for every rat in the neighbourhood.
See, there's all fat in the bottom of there.
Yeah, I reckon it hasn't been used for a long time.
I know, but the thing is, right, this is the way I look at it. Exactly, you're leaving dinner out for them and you're inviting them to your premises.
I realise that, yeah.
Which isn't good, so you've got to just get all the miscellaneous clutter and stuff that you no longer need for your business tidied out.
You've also got to find a place to put these sort of things, you know.
The barrage of problems means it's not looking good for this poultry factory.
You're going to get a D grade today,
okay,
which is poor,
yeah,
really poor. Before I go on, I'll tell you the thing about a D grade. We're back here in 72 hours, so we're going to really seriously need some action in the next 72 hours, all right? Otherwise, you could face that further step and it would be closed.
Wayne and Amber returned 3 days later to find huge improvements with cleaning and housekeeping. On a further visit, a pest control contract was in place, idle machinery removed, and the premises were clean and tidy enough to have them graded back to an acceptable C. Tonight, alcohol illegally sold to teenagers in Auckland.
Oh, how thick is this guy?
A contamination mystery on the Kapiti coast.
We don't know what's actually caused the deaths of these fish. If the dogs do eat the fish, then they could become ill.
And substandard housing in a carport.
Interesting.
Looking like a mess.
Not good.
Is this area used at all?
No.
Not at all?
At the Greater Wellington Regional Council, Environmental Protection Officer Naomi Middleton has been alerted to a potential crisis on the Kapiti coast.
We're just heading down Paraparaumu Beach, and I got called out this afternoon by the Ministry of Fisheries, who spotted a lot of dead fish along the coastline here, over about a 50-kilometre stretch.
Unusually large numbers of dead fish have reportedly washed up along the coastline. Sometimes it's from fishing boats illegally dumping surplus fish, but that doesn't seem to be the case here.
We're just heading off down the beach to see if we can see some of these fish that have washed up.
Naomi's concerned the fish may have been poisoned. In similar cases around the country, fish contaminated with poison have caused the death of dogs and marine life such as penguins.
Where all the birds are, that's a fairly good sign that there might be some fish floating around in the shallows. Right, let's go have a look.
If contamination is the cause, then the public and animals using the beach could be in grave danger.
They've had snapper and raised bream, and they reckon it's probably somewhere in the hundreds to thousands mark. We can't really rule out any possible cause at this stage. It could be an environmental contaminant, or we could be looking at a biotoxin.
Biotoxins are poisons that originate naturally from plants or animals. It's common with algal blooms for biotoxins to get into the food chain.
Concerns raised that, seeing as we don't know what's actually caused the deaths of these fish, it might not be a good time for people to be fishing along this coast, or, you know, if the dogs do eat the fish, then they could become ill if it has been a contaminant that's caused the deaths.
If the fish have been poisoned, then there is a significant risk for anyone who catches a live contaminated fish and then eats it. One reaction to such toxins includes weakness and paralysis of limbs, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea and breathing difficulties. Another is gastrointestinal symptoms and occasionally seizure. But there's also the worry of what a poison can do to wildlife. Naomi's concerned about the protected marine life in the area.
Over here we've got a marine reserve out by Kapiti Island. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a shame to think that the fish species that live in this area are under threat when we've got this amazing resource out here that needs to be protected. Yeah, it's a real shame.
With New Zealand fishery stocks already under threat, it's a worry that the incident could have been the result of dumping from a trawler.
The really sad thing about this is that our fisheries are already under a lot of pressure. A lot of our species are under pressure from a lot of different sources, and so this kind of needless waste just makes me really sad.
As night falls, dead fish continue to wash up on the incoming tide, but Naomi still has no clues about the cause of the mysterious deaths. The next morning at Auckland's North Shore City Council, Building and Compliance Officers Graham Jones and Karima Fuad are investigating a dwelling that has had illegal housing additions.
Okay, we're going to property in Glenfield now, where we've been out to before.
On a previous visit 6 months ago, a carport under a deck had been transformed into an additional dwelling, posing serious environmental and public risks.
We've had a couple of issues with it. Originally, we had a complaint of people sleeping underneath the deck on the property. Went out before Christmas. There are mattresses stored there.
The addition was an illegal build that wasn't safe for housing people, so the council insisted it be demolished and returned to the original plan.
There was a kitchen underneath the deck, and there was also a drain that obviously connected from the sink and just literally discharged down the drives.
With the wastewater discharging straight into the driveway, it then drains into the stormwater system, and from there it can pollute waterways, potentially causing a lot of harm.
pipe looks to have gone.
Unless they've covered it up.
No, it's still there. Look.
Tricky.
That's the discharge from the
washing machine.
From the sink and washing machine underneath. It's just literally going down there.
Into the road. Yeah, they're trying to cover it up.
Graham and Karima try to avoid expensive court cases by giving people a chance to toe the line, but concealing the pipe suggests these owners are doing anything but cooperating.
There's windows open, there's got to be somebody here, isn't there?
Should we try that bottom
door? Try the bottom door.
Inspecting inside could be difficult. The house appears to have a multitude of front doors.
Let's have a go around here then. That's just back to where we were before.
But as Graham and Karima continue their search for an occupant, they find more serious problems.
Another outdoor sink.
Interesting.
It's an ad hoc kitchen looking like a mess.
Not good.
There's another shed there with a sink in it, so I'm just going to have a look where the drain goes from that one.
In a surprise discovery, they have stumbled across another illegal building addition.
We just had a wander around. We've got a garden shed here that's had a kitchen put in it. There are issues here. I mean, for starters, I can't see where the drain goes for that washing machine or sink. There's nowhere obvious. So that begs the question, is that just discharging across the garden somewhere?
Like the illegal dwelling under the deck, this structure too is not consented, not plumbed, and a serious risk to public health and the environment.
I can see the pipe work, but can't see where it goes, unfortunately. So we've possibly got the similar issues. What we've got on the front is just literally discharging onto the ground.
At a glance from the outside, the illegal additions all suggest something very suspicious is going on with this property. And the team haven't even inspected the interior yet.
Chances are it's over-tenanted. I mean, without getting inside, I can't really tell that from outside. However, looking at the sort of layout of the building, the additional kitchens, I have got reservations about it. I'm quite concerned, to be honest, and I think we're making an effort to get hold of the owners if they'll correspond with us and try and get inside it.
Meanwhile, at Manukau City Council, District Licensing Officer Paul Radich and Constable Chris Lally from the Manukau Police are preparing for what's known as a controlled purchase operation.
We've done these operations for about 4 years now. When we started doing them, the failure rate for the bottle stores in Manukau City was around 50%. It's come down to 10% in recent years, so we're making headway in terms of the overt battle against youth access to alcohol anyway.
The operation involves sending a minor into bottle stores attempting to purchase alcohol. These operations are the District Licence Authority's primary tool in trying to combat underage drinking.
The underage people we put in to these stores are clearly underage, and there should be no question that there shouldn't be a sale. So when we're talking about failure rates, we're talking about those people who have failed to check for ID, failed to adhere to the Sale of Liquor Act and completed a sale.
But sending a 15-year-old into stores to purchase alcohol doesn't come without risks, and the main priority is to keep the minor out of harm's way and to ensure he follows the correct procedure.
If they ask for ID, you don't have any on you, and you shouldn't have any on you now. Yeah. If they ask for your age, you have to give them the true age, so you can't lie about anything. Yeah. Okay. If you don't feel comfortable about going into a place, don't worry about going into it. Okay. It's your safety's first. So what we want to make sure is if you don't want to go in there, that's cool.
All the stores in this operation have had previous decisions that have gone before the Liquor Licence Authority.
What'd you say?
No ID, no sale, mate. So, yeah.
Oh my God, maybe she's learning.
While some stores are lifting their game, others are finding ways to not get caught.
Some of the bottle stores that we'll go to today, they have what they refer to as security people. We refer to them as spotters because those security people won't actually do anything until they see us. You'll see the security person, as the young person approaches the store, they will look around to see if they can see us. And then, obviously, if we're spotted, they'll go in and make sure that the sale doesn't happen. So it's one of the common practices now to have spotters or security people outside.
Again, the minor returns from the store empty-handed.
Oh, nearly.
Guy came in from outside?
Nah, but he was on the phone. And then he did it all, and then he got halfway through his conversation and looked at me kind of funny.
Is that when he asked for ID?
Yeah. Oh.
It sounds like a spotter could have alerted the store owner, causing him to abort the sale.
Yeah, well, it sounded like he was going to sell. It sounded...
It sounded very much.
Because I gave him the money and he took it.
And he scanned it as well,
yeah,
didn't he?
and then He was talking on the phone, looked at me all funny all of a sudden and just said, "Oh, you got any ID?" And then I said I didn't have any, he went kind of pale.
Oh, well, at least he didn't sell. It's a bonus.
It's a bonus.
On to another previous offender, but not a spotter in sight.
For God's sake.
Second time.
Oh, how thick is this guy?
On Auckland's North Shore, Building and Compliance Officers Graham Jones and Karima Fuad are investigating a property where a carport had been illegally converted into an additional dwelling.
There was a kitchen underneath the deck, and there was also a drain that obviously connected from the sink and just literally discharged down the drives.
Finding someone to talk to and show them inside proved difficult, but what they did find was another illegal addition.
No, we just had a wander around. We've got a garden shed here that's had a kitchen put in it. There are possible issues here. I mean, for starters, I can't see where the drain goes for that washing machine or sink. There's nowhere obvious.
And as they continue searching, their persistence finally pays off, and a sleepy tenant greets them from one of the many doors.
It's all right.
Hi.
From council. Come to have a look at the building downstairs. We've come in here before. Is there any chance I can open up the door under the patio? You know, the one outside, under the deck? It's all corrugated tin around it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
The occupant agrees to show Graham and Karima down to the carport under the deck.
Yeah, I just need to have a look in there.
From the outside, it looks like nothing has changed. But what about inside?
Right. Is this area used at all?
No.
Not at all?
This side.
People that live in the bottom of the house use it. Because I've asked them to take the sink out, you see, and have a general sort out, and it's not been done, has it?
This is very disappointing. The owners have had 6 months, but there's no sign they've done anything to address the problems. What's more, there's evidence to suggest the place is still in use.
It's still wet and there's a lot of water on the floor.
Should I run the tap and see if it's coming out there?
Try it, yeah? Why not?
The sink and the washing machine all drain into the one pipe.
Yep. By turning the water on from the inside, it's discharging straight under here, which is running down into the drain. That potentially is going to be discharging into the streams, and especially if they're using detergent in the sink area, it's going to have detrimental effects to the stream, the aquatic life.
Polluting the stream alone carries a hefty fine of $750. But the problems unfolding at this property could turn out to be far greater than initially thought.
It's be a case of going up there and trying to find out, well, trying to get into it, to be honest, and have a good look around. Because I suspect there's a lot of rooms locked off in it. And I say there's certainly 2 ad hoc kitchens on the place, which is a bit of a concern on a single dwelling.
Single dwelling means only one lot of occupants, but this kitchen and the other one they've discovered suggest it's rented out to a number of tenants. Back with District Licensing Officer Paul Radich and Constable Chris Lally. They're out on a controlled purchase operation, sending a miner in to try and buy alcohol.
What'd you say?
No idea, no sale, mate.
But any hopes of getting a clean slate were dashed when a previous offending store again let a teenager buy alcohol.
For God's sake.
Second time.
Oh, how thick is this guy?
Chris and Paul must immediately take a statement, which may need to be used at a later date in a prosecution hearing.
How long do you think you were in the shop for?
Probably about 2 minutes.
Running a bottle store, there are 2 things. Ask for ID and make sure you're not selling to any drugs. This kid's 15 years old. He's well short of what the required age is, and certainly doesn't look like he's 18 where you'd be comfortable enough to say, oh yeah, I don't need any ID. It's just really, really, really dumb.
This small $11 sale will now result in heavy fines and penalties for the operator if the case goes to a hearing, or temporary closure with losses of up to $12,000 in sales.
Because you'll have to close on a Friday for 2 days now, or 3 days now, because this is the second time we've caught him.
So, time to share the bad news.
Hello.
How are you? Reason why we are here, you've sold a 4-pack of Woody's Bourbon and Coke to a 15-year-old boy.
Do you remember the sale at all? No.
With the operator's recollection lapsing, perhaps a gentle reminder will do the trick.
Now, I'll show you the photo again.
Can I get proof that he's underage?
It's a bit rich that he didn't ask for proof of age earlier, but wants it now.
What sort of proof do you want that he's underage?
Something that to verify that he is underage.
Oh, well, perhaps you should have verified whether he was overage, rather than be worried about whether he's underage.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys can just sort of say, yeah, he was 15. I mean, how do I know that?
That would be lying.
I have known cops to lie.
Oh, we've done this before.
I know.
I'm telling you, he's 15. If need be, when we go to court, I can produce his birth certificate.
Bearing in mind this is your second sale.
The owner can choose to negotiate a voluntary suspension of trade now with Paul and Chris, or face prosecution and potentially greater penalties by the Liquor Licensing Authority.
Do you want a court hearing, or do you want to negotiate a suspension period?
What's the difference?
Well, if you want the proof that he's not 18, then we'll go to court.
Come back with an offer and I'll look at it.
I don't offer.
Chris and Paul depart. The operator now has a couple of days to decide whether to opt for voluntary suspension or go to a hearing.
Very argumentative man. He got done less than a year ago, so it's this is a second sale.
He wants proof that he was 15 years old rather than focusing on he should have been able to establish whether he was over 18 in the first place. You know, at the end of the day, he's made a mistake. Admittedly, that's a mistake that shouldn't have happened and under no circumstances should happen, but you know, we've got to be fair about it and we've got to give him an opportunity to sort it out.
The previous sale saw the operator penalised with a 2-day suspension of his licence and a 1-month suspension of his manager's certificate. Because this is a second offence, Paul and Chris are requesting more severe penalties, a 4-day suspension of licence at an estimated loss of $15,000 in sales, and a 3-month suspension of his manager's certificate. Back with Environmental Protection Officer Naomi Middleton on the Kapiti coast. Massive numbers of dead fish have washed up along 50 kilometres of beach.
We can't really rule out any possible cause at this stage. It could be an environmental contaminant, or we could be looking at a biotoxin.
12 hours later, the new tide has washed even more dead fish ashore. Fearing that a dangerous toxin may be causing the deaths, samples are rushed to Biosecurity New Zealand laboratories.
What we are looking for would be infectious causes of disease.
The scientists are trying to untangle the mystery of the dead fish by finding a link to either man-made contaminants, biotoxins, or some other unidentified cause.
Pop a bacterial loop in there. So just take out the heart here.
The tissues in every major organ are dissected and inspected. Swabs are taken to be cultured for possible bacterial infections, and tissue samples taken for closer examination.
Take a little bit of gut just to make sure we don't have some kind of nasty gut disease going on. You can see it's got a little bit of nasty mucus-like stuff in there, so get a sample of that and have a look.
Despite the urgency of the situation, the science involved will take time.
The histopathology has to fix for at least 24 hours and we have to trim it. It then goes off to get processed into very, very thin sections, 5/1000th of a millimetre thick.
The tissues prepared onto slides and checked under the microscope for evidence of toxins, disease or distress.
The bacterial plates, well, they can grow something overnight, or some types of bacteria can take up to 12 weeks to grow.
But bacteria are not the only pathogens that may have caused the fish deaths.
If we're worried about viruses and we want to try and grow viruses on cell lines, well, that's at least 3 to 4 weeks. It's a movable feast.
The good news, after 48 hours, no more dead fish washed ashore. The laboratory ruled out any evidence of an infectious agent or toxic pollutant. MAF and the Greater Wellington Regional Council later concluded that the dead fish were either dumped from a trawler or transported in a stormy current from deep to shallow waters, contracting decompression sickness. From the North Shore City Council, Building and Compliance Officers Graham Jones and Karima Fuad have been out inspecting an illegal dwelling in a carport that should have been removed.
Bastards take the sink out, you see, and have a general sort out, and it's not been done, has it?
On top of that, they found another illegal addition outside.
We just had a wander around. We've got a garden shed here that's had a kitchen put in it.
With the evidence now pointing to a very dodgy tenanting situation, as well as environmental concerns, Graham and Karima are back a week later to meet with the property manager, hoping to view inside the main dwelling.
Hi, it's Graham from North Shore City Council. You all right?
They start by walking the property manager through the exterior problems.
This kitchen shouldn't even be here.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Graham has council plans that show how the property should look without all the illegal additions outside.
I've got the original plans for the house.
Okay.
So this is the upstairs, and this is the downstairs. I want to have a look into this room, because I want to know how this has been used.
Graham's concerned that if the outside is anything to go by, there will be more illegal modifications inside.
Can we go in and have a look at that?
I don't have the...
Graham gets inside, but the one room he wants to see is hidden behind locked doors.
I need to get into that bottom piece. Can we go through the house, and I want to see how it's connected?
It's not connected.
The downstairs area is locked off and being tenanted separately. Graham's suspicions have been confirmed. This is not the single dwelling it's supposed to be. He departs for now, but Graham's not taking any chances this time. Later, he heads back to the property manager's office with a formal written warning.
I'm going to issue them with an abatement notice under the Resource Management Act, basically to remove the dishwashing facilities, to rent the house out as one household. And also, we're going to ask them to remove the shuttering from around the deck so that the vehicles can park underneath it as per the last set of plans.
The owners now have a month to act, or they will face severe fines, penalties or potentially prosecution. On a later visit, the property had been returned to the original state as approved in council plans, and the owners escaped further action through the courts. Tonight, a routine restaurant inspection finds unhealthy food storage.
What the blooming hell's going on here? I don't even want to think that that's food that anybody's going to get.
A very dodgy toileting arrangement.
So how long's the toilet been there then?
1 week.
1 week, right. Because you can't really put a toilet on a deck.
And a backyard mechanic bending the truth in Auckland.
How about this vehicle here?
It all belongs to me.
How about this one?
That's only my car.
So is this...
That's mine.
Oh, that's your car?
car.
In Dunedin, Environmental Health Officer Wayne Boss is heading out from the council for a routine inspection at a takeaway.
Hello?
Dunedin City Council operates a grading system based on the food safety regulations. Once a year, food premises are inspected for their work practices, standard of cleanliness, the state of the building structure, and finally staff training. They are then graded excellent, good, adequate or poor.
Quickly show me around and then I'll let you get on with your work and I'll do mine, all right? Okay. Thanks.
This takeaway is currently graded a good B. It's changed hands in the past year, so can the new operators maintain or improve on the standards set by the previous owner?
And we start with the cleanliness of the outside areas as well, because that can attract pests and you can get them inside and that. So I'm looking at the waste traps here, and these gullies and traps are not that clean really. You can see it's been overflowing, and that's because they get so much peelings and rice and things like that down there, and it needs a good clean really. Not impressed with that there really.
Oh, he said he clean it every week.
He needs to clean it more than every week then, because it's not clean enough, yeah?
Moving on, Wayne heads for the area where they prepare the potatoes to be made into chips.
And that's your peeler, or rumbler, potato rumbler. You just stick the whole load of potatoes in there and it gets them all peeled, spits them out into there, and this is going to be the chipper.
The potato area is dark and damp, ideal conditions for bacteria and other disease carriers to live and thrive.
Yeah. Oh, good. I don't know what that is. That's mould in the black in the handle, and this is mould creeping up the wall here.
The mould in this room is excessive, probably from all the water that's used to wash and peel the spuds and the equipment. It's soaked into the walls, and as a result, the crude timber cladding is rotting away.
There are hard areas in potato areas, right? What I would advocate is that they're metal sheet clad or plastic sheet clad these walls to about that height, and then that will stand all the washing and the hosing down. But this kind of wood boarding stuff isn't going to stand the type of use for this area.
Structural problems like this are a bad start and likely to prevent a high grade being allocated to the operator.
That's cooked pork.
Yes, sweet sour pork.
Right.
This takeaway does Chinese dishes, as well as fish and chips and burgers. They're in the midst of preparing for the day, and it's an ideal opportunity for Wayne to assess all aspects of their food safety.
Yeah, if you have a general look, cleaning really needs a bit of improvement here. A lot of spillages and debris on the floor, on the shelves, in the corners, things like that.
With the kitchen looking filthy, what hygiene horrors await Wayne inside the freezer?
Oh dear. Having items unwrapped like this is just stupid. What on earth? You know? Oh, I just don't know what's going on here. Look at this. Ah, dear me. I don't even want to think that that's food that anybody's gonna get, but I mean, what blooming hell's going on here?
Wayne's dumbfounded at the state of the food storage. It looks like these operators have some serious explaining to do. Meanwhile, at the North Shore City Council, Building and Compliance Officer Graham Jones has an unusual day ahead dealing with an illegal build. Unlawful construction without council consent can pose a very serious risk to public health, safety and the environment.
We've got a couple of problems at the property.
It's the job of Graham and his team to keep the DIY mad New Zealand public in check. And this morning, Graham is heading out for a not-so-routine inspection.
We've been called to this house because we've had a complaint. There's actually a toilet that's been plumbed in on the deck outside.
A disgruntled local alerted the council to this very bizarre alteration. A small outdoor deck in clear view of the neighbours has been enclosed with plastic and transformed into what appears to be a toilet.
Hi, good morning. From the council. I'm here because I've had a complaint about a toilet on the deck. Is it your house? Do you own the house?
No. My house.
Whose house is it?
Daughter.
Your daughter's house?
Daughter's house.
Right. Let's have a look and see what's there. Could I come in and have a look?
If it is a toilet and it is operational, then it raises a whole raft of safety issues for Graham. But what he actually finds is a complete surprise.
And you've got a sink here as well. Is this plumbed in as well? Yeah? You got hot water here too?
Water.
This little deck is housing a complete kitchen facility which, until this point, the council knew nothing about and therefore hasn't consented.
You use this for cooking, do you, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Is all this original or have you put it in?
Yeah.
You put it in? Okay.
And to confirm the neighbours' suspicions, there is a toilet in the space as well. What's more, it appears to be working.
Right, there's water connected to it though, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah? Who put this in for you?
Pardon?
Who put it in? You put it in? Right. Where does the drain go to? To the... We'll have a look outside in a minute. You can show me where you connected it? Yeah?
This man's taken Kiwi inventiveness to a whole new level with his deck makeover, but it raises very serious questions about public health and safety.
How long's it been like this?
Half year, maybe half year.
About half year? About 6 months? So how long's the toilet been there then?
1 week.
1 week?
Yeah.
Right. Because you can't really put a toilet on a deck. Can you show me where that pipework goes from the toilet. 'Cause let's have a look at that first outside.
Graham's concerned the raw sewage and kitchen discharge are going into the stormwater. If they are, then the public and the environment are at serious risk.
Where does that pipe there go? Is that sewer or stormwater?
In South Auckland, resource management planner David Francis is responding to a complaint about a suspected backyard mechanic operating in an otherwise quiet residential area. Operating a business from home that doesn't comply with the district plan home enterprise rules, such as traffic generation, hours of operation, visual impact and noise, requires resource consent.
We're here to investigate a property that has received a complaint about the amount of cars and other vehicles that are on the property at the moment. It's carrying out car repairs, dismantling cars to salvage parts.
There are serious penalties facing the operator of a home business which doesn't have consent and is having a negative impact on the neighbourhood. Pricey infringement notices or even legal proceedings leading to imprisonment for up to 2 years or up to $200,000 in fines.
Hi, you remember me from Protocol City Council?
Yeah.
So we're just having a quick look at the extent of the activity.
While there are at least 14 vehicles on the property, the man does have an explanation.
So is this being spray painted for the purposes of resale?
Yeah, that's mine.
Oh, that's your
mine car.
And you're going to resell?
No, that's for my car.
Okay, for your own
For using.
benefit?
For using.
Okay.
Yeah, this all belongs to me.
Right.
Yeah, because it's not allowed. I know the rules.
Right.
It's not allowed to fix anybody's car.
Right.
Just only my car.
It appears the owner knows that these vehicles have to be used for normal residential purposes, which means commuting and recreational use, not being repaired or done up to be sold.
Can I have a quick look around? No problem.
Down the side of the garage, large numbers of spare parts suggest the man's running an operation on a reasonably large scale.
Some out of my cars, they put it and strip the parts and take it back to the island. That's why so many cars here.
Right.
Yeah.
The man has just confirmed David's suspicions that he's running a home enterprise.
So, how many cars would that involve over a period of a year, say?
Where?
That you're taking parts out and sending them to your family, or to your father?
Not one a week or some.
One a week? Oh, okay.
Some cars not anymore. Not a month, nothing.
So sort of averages to a month.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The man has admitted to purchasing around 26 cars a year. David definitely has an environmental infringement to enforce. Back in Dunedin, Inspector Wayne Boss has uncovered serious health risks.
Oh, good. I don't know what that is.
Cleanliness and food storage practices are well below par at this takeaway.
I don't even want to think that that's food that anybody's gonna get, but I mean, what the blooming hell's going on here?
Even though it's frozen, this food should be in sealed bags or sealed containers and clearly labelled. It's Food Storage 101, and it's not happening in this establishment.
Look at this. What's happening? Who's this food for?
No. In this basket, we don't use that, but we don't have time to clean it.
Are you saying this is your personal food?
Yes. Yes.
What about these?
This is my personal. This is the deer bone.
A deer bone?
Yeah.
What's this?
We use that to do the onion sausages. So we make them and then put it here until it's frozen, and then we will cut it and then deep fry it.
So that's the raw meat, sausage meat,
Yes.
with onion, and you've mixed all that together and then put it in that box.
Yes.
Well, I'm really disappointed in that freezer.
Oh.
I haven't finished looking around yet, so I'll carry on, but we'll talk more about these things.
Yep. Okay.
Wayne's only halfway through the inspection, and already their current B grade is looking very shaky.
And why not use a nice plastic container instead of a flipping cardboard box? You know, I don't know. I'm struggling with that. I wish they hadn't opened that freeze.
But that's just one of a number of fridges and coolers.
See what we got in here?
Cooked rice. It looks old, but Wayne can't be sure because none of the food is labelled or dated.
Oh, are you using...
Can I use?
Oh, you're going to use that? Just come out and just sit. Wait a second. How old is this? Just have a look. Just have a look. How old's that?
How old?
Yeah.
Is today.
Today.
In the morning. Yes.
Right. I'm struggling to believe you, really, to be honest, because it looks so stuck on there.
No.
It looks as though it's been in there for a few days.
Yes. No. Every day will be cleaned.
Fresh rice.
Yes, I have a new one in the
rice cooker.
Yes.
And you want that
This
now?
is not enough to.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Cooked rice is a common cause of foodborne illness. If after cooking it's allowed to cool too slowly, it can be the ideal environment for bacteria which produce a toxin causing nausea, vomiting and diarrhea. Unfortunately, reheating the rice before serving won't destroy this nasty toxin. The area where they store fresh produce throws up a fresh surprise for Wayne.
What struck me immediately I walked in here was carpet on the floor of a food storage room. It's an absolute no-no. It can't be cleaned. And then it also struck me that it was being used as a room for partially living and sleeping in, and that's not permitted in the food regs. You cannot have a sleeping room communicating with a food room.
Hiding amongst the confusion of beds, computers, personal belongings and bins of food is another chiller.
This is quite common. What they do is they cook a whole lot, but they don't give us any idea of what they've cooked and when they cooked it and when they're going to use it by.
Again, the sloppy food practices don't impress Wayne. That B grade is slipping further and further away. On Auckland's North Shore, Building and Compliance Officer Graham Jones is investigating a grievance from a displeased neighbour.
Hi, good morning, from the council. I'm here because I've had a complaint about a toilet on the deck.
But what he found was a toilet in a kitchen on a deck, all of which may be discharging straight into the stormwater system.
Where does that pipe there go? Is that sewer or stormwater?
The man doesn't appear to know. If it is going into the stormwater, it's a serious health risk.
Yeah, but is that the sewer or is that the stormwater? I can't work out if it's connected into the stormwater or into the sewer, but either way, it can't stay there.
But the surprises keep coming.
Did you put this toilet here, or has it always been?
Yeah.
You put this toilet in here as well?
Oh, yeah.
Right, how long ago?
Maybe 1 year or more. 1 year more.
Right.
So that's 2 additional toilets now, which could be discharging into the stormwater system.
Until we find where that pipe goes to, don't use that toilet on the deck or the toilet by the back door, because if they're connected into the stormwater, it means the sewage is going straight into the stormwater, not into the sewer. And I can't tell by just looking at it whether that's a sewer or a stormwater. I suspect it's stormwater.
Regardless of the unconfirmed discharge problem, the toilets and kitchen are illegal, dangerous and must be dealt with.
But I was saying as well, this other toilet, the ones at the back of the garage, that's not something that I can leave like that. It's just not acceptable, unfortunately. It's going to have to go. But if you could take that other one out, that would be really good. If I come back next week and it's gone, that would be a good start.
Yeah, okay.
All right?
Yeah, okay.
All right, thanks for your cooperation.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
What we've got there is a deck with a kitchen created on it and a toilet put in it. So the whole, there shouldn't be a kitchen on a deck and there shouldn't be a toilet on a deck.
The owner did disable the kitchen and toilet on the balcony, and Graham later discovered that the waste pipe was discharging into the sewer, and it was up to the owners to obtain council approval for the interior toilet, or it too would have to be disabled. Back in South Auckland, resource management planner David Francis has been investigating a complaint about an illegal backyard mechanic.
Hi, remember me from City Council?
Yeah. But what he found was excuse.
Yeah, this all belongs to me.
Right.
Yeah.
After excuse.
Somebody, they been on a car here before.
after yet more excuses.
Some out of my cars just put it and strip the parts and take it back to the island.
But a breakthrough finally came when the man admitted buying around 26 cars a year.
So sort of averages 2 a month.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
This level of activity is not considered to be for normal residential purposes and is therefore a breach of the council's district plan.
The fact that there are so many cars in terms of the complaint that it's operating as a business, that would be fairly solid evidence that a business is occurring.
Over a dozen cars is pretty solid evidence, but the man now claims the cars belong to family. David is doubtful.
How about this one that you've got up on Jack's?
This one belongs to my family, my father.
Oh, okay.
And my grandfather, this one.
It's very family-oriented of you.
Yeah.
So they don't give you any sort of remuneration?
No.
No, okay.
There's no paying the money. Because I got no business card, nothing. No office, no nothing.
Yes.
It's not about business cards or an office. It's a question of whether there's an exchange of money or goods for profit.
So given that you are doing all these car repairs for free, how is it that you earn a living?
My wife working.
Okay.
My wife working.
So this is all done for the benefit of your family?
Yeah.
Okay.
The man's argument didn't convince David. He gave him an abatement notice stating that he must comply with the rules of the district plan relating to home enterprise activity. David continued to monitor the property and ran more registration checks that showed the man was breaching the abatement notice by continuing to repair and dismantle motor vehicles not for normal residential purposes. An environmental infringement notice was then issued, along with a costly $750 fine. Should the operator continue to breach the district plan, further fines could follow, and even prosecution in the courts. In Dunedin, Health Officer Wayne has been inspecting a takeaway, with not very good results.
Well, I'm really disappointed in that freezer.
The more he inspected, the more unsafe practices he uncovered.
How old's that?
How old?
Yeah?
It's today.
Right. I'm struggling to believe you, really.
Overall, Wayne feels negligence by the operators is putting diners at risk.
For me, structurally, the premises is quite old. There's a little bit of maintenance to do. But for me, the biggest shocking area is the food storage. I'm not happy with the stock rotation, not happy with their cleaning inside some of the food storage units and that. And that reflects really in that it's only going to get a C grade, which is just acceptable. It's not good.
The takeaway had a good B grade before this inspection, so this is a big drop in standards and not a good start for these people who have recently taken over the business.
I'm just going to tell you what the grade's going to be to start with. It's not very good. Right, it's going to be a C grade, and you've really got to show some improvement in some areas, right?
Yeah.
You're just one little mark off being closed on a D grade.
Wayne returned to the takeaway 3 days later. Although a huge effort had been made to rectify some of the structural and cleanliness issues, Wayne felt there was still some way to go. The operators retained their C grade for a further 2 months, at which time they're eligible to apply for a regrade. Tonight, extreme caution after a toxic spill in Canterbury.
There's still a lot of hazard there, so we've just got to treat it with a lot of respect at the moment.
Conflict on the street for noise control officers.
Hey, who actually lives here, mate? Who actually lives here?
And more sparks fly on the North Shore.
Apparently it's a demolition party.
In Canterbury, Environmental Enforcement Officer Norman Marsh has responded to an urgent call-out.
It was equipment failure, 80 litres of fuel into the drains.
Emergency teams are on the scene at a Rangiora petrol station, where a freak accident has caused petrol to escape from one of the pumps.
So what's happened here at the moment is we've got a mobile station here. We've had a fuel pump that's, for some reason, it's fallen off the main pump, the nozzle's hit onto the ground and it started pumping. It's pumped for 2 minutes at 40 litres a minute and flown straight into the stormwater.
It's easy to mop up the petrol on the forecourt and the road, but the main problem is the petrol that's escaped down the drains.
It's not a huge amount of fuel in terms of a discharge. It's just the particular place that in the middle of town that's the problem.
The petrol station is in the most built-up area in Rangiora, and Norman has to minimise the risk to people and property.
Every time you look at something, you've got to go out there and say, what's the best way of containing it?
He's worried about the petrol that ran into the storm water pipes, which will be giving off volatile fumes that could ignite and cause a major explosion. The area has been cordoned off and local businesses evacuated, because until the team can contain the petrol, the potential for danger is extremely high. Meanwhile, up on Auckland's North Shore, Noise Officer Mike Dennison is gearing up for a busy shift.
I just want to say hello to everybody back in Napier.
Friday night celebrations and late night parties are keeping the council's call lines running red hot, with complaints from frustrated neighbours unable to sleep.
05. Yes, I've got another job. I need to pass it to you and that's it.
And for Mike, that means another hectic night on the job.
It's just gone 11 o'clock. We've got a job up here in Glenfield. Just rock down, we'll have a listen. It's actually one of our regulars, so I'm expecting it's probably going to be loud.
Of the 100 complaints each week, many are frequent offenders, but Mike has to treat each report as if it's a first-timer.
If it's not excessive, maybe just a bit borderline, I'll usually go in and have a chat and just say, hey, we've received a complaint. If, in my opinion, the noise is excessive, I'll take action.
He pulls up a good 80 metres from the property, but it's immediately evident the noise is excessive.
Well, as you can hear, we can hear it from down here on the road, so yeah, I'm going to rock up and give them an notice. Since I actually am behind all these houses.
Under the Resource Management Act, Noise Control can issue a written warning to reduce noise for 72 hours. To give the written warning, Mike has to find someone to issue the order to. Typically, it's whoever is hosting the party.
G'day, it's Noise Control.
Oh,
hey, yeah. Hey, it's just out, eh? You can hear it down on the road, man.
We know it's meant to be.
If they clearly know the noise is excessive, then they have little regard for their neighbours. But Mike is playing Mr. Nice Guy in the hope they'll respond to the warning.
Yeah, but it's got to stay down a bit, eh? Just got to leave you one of these things again.
What up?
Is this your place?
Yes.
No, sweet, man. You know how these things work, eh?
Yeah.
Cool, man. Just keep it down, we don't come back, eh?
That is so funny. Oh, yo, you gotta crack up the camera.
What if that's
Come on,
fucked up,
crack
man?
You guys have a good night.
Yo,
Push me, bro. It's all
some
good.
police Catch you later, bro.
If Mike has to return again tonight, he won't be so nice, and they probably won't find it so funny. They face stiff fines and other penalties if they continue to ignore the written warning for creating excessive noise. Excessive noise is any noise that is under human control and of a nature as to unreasonably interfere with the peace, comfort and convenience of any person. Across town in South Auckland, noise officers Jake Farfua and Ben Fideau are heading out to their first call of the night. At a residential apartment, festivities are in full swing, but this man's party is a neighbour's sleepless nightmare.
Are you down at the house or not?
Yeah, you
You want to place a complaint? Yep. Yeah, okay, obviously we've got a survey written warning for it because it's obviously too loud for your neighbours.
No, I want to see the tester for the noise.
It's done in the opinion.
The man wants scientific proof that his noise is excessive, but the decision is based on the noise team's discretion.
If you read this, I'll explain it to you.
Have a good read off the back of on the back of this. It will tell you what the tester is all about.
There's no prescribed level for what is excessive. Under the Resource Management Act, the council has the authority to control excessive noise. It's dependent on the type of noise, the time of day, and the location of neighbours.
The very next time we get the cops down here, I don't want to do that.
Drunken partygoers are hard to reason with, but like Mike on the North Shore, Jake and Ben are polite and pleasant and have issued the host with a written warning.
Okay guys, have a good night.
But if they're called back again tonight, there will be serious consequences.
If we find that we run into the same excessive noise again, then what usually happens is we call for police assistance and we confiscate the stereo or whatever is making that noise.
In Rangiora, Environmental Enforcement Officer Norman Marsh and emergency teams have shut down roads where potentially explosive fuel has infiltrated the stormwater system.
It's pumped for 2 minutes at 40 litres a minute and flown straight into the stormwater.
The spill above ground has now been contained by sand, and they're shovelling sand into neighbouring drains to prevent it spreading further afield.
And it went from the forecourt. They have no interceptors here. So it's gone straight into the stormwater onto the main street. We've actually abundant each grate going down the street, each opening, with sand to contain it so it won't go any further.
There's a standard procedure for dealing with toxic spills like this.
It's always stop the discharge, contain the discharge, and then try and remove the discharge.
Norman's most immediate concern is preventing the petrol fumes exploding in the pipes, but there's also a very real risk of the petrol escaping into surrounding streams and rivers. Petrol is highly toxic and, if allowed to escape into stormwater, will have disastrous effects on local ecological systems, polluting water, endangering plants and wildlife, and spoiling it for human recreation.
So at this stage, we've stopped the discharge, obviously. We've contained it.
Now the team are challenged with the task of removing it, and there's no room for mistakes.
It's still volatile. There's still a lot of hazard there. So we've just got to treat it with a lot of respect at the moment.
The simplest and safest option is bringing in a sucker truck. That's a truck equipped with a suction hose and a powerful pump, but getting one to this location in the middle of the night takes time.
Yeah, they've only got a diaphragm pump, which won't do. So we can't get out the sucker trucks out at the moment.
Until the truck arrives, the risks remain extremely high.
We've still got the issue with fumes, and it's still petrol. So until the sucker truck comes here, until we get all that cleaned up, I'm still on tenterhooks, let me tell you.
The sucker truck did arrive. The fire brigade repeatedly pumped water into the pipes, which the truck was able to suck out. Any petrol residue was diluted down to a safe level, and the threat of explosion and environmental pollution eliminated. The town of Rangiora was then able to sleep easy. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the residents of South Auckland. We're back on patrol with noise officer Jake Farfua. He visited this place earlier in the evening and issued a warning. With loud noise spilling out into the street, the neighbours have made a second complaint. It appears the warning fell on deaf ears.
The reason why I don't go into these properties like this is when they've got gates there, a lot of these properties have dogs.
Jake's job is to protect the public from unreasonable noise, but his own safety is paramount, so he remains out of potential harm's way at the gate.
Hiya. How are you? Noise control.
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
I'm Mel.
Mel, nice to meet you. Mel, my name's
Nice
Jake.
to meet you. What's
How are
up, bro?
How are you?
Tell me what's up.
Again, Jake has the difficult task of getting his message across. The person he spoke to on his first visit hasn't come out, so now he's got to go over it again.
I just need to explain something to you. There's been a noise complaint. I thought I'd come up here and just have a chat with you guys first and just let you know that the warnings we serve. Actually, I can come in here right now and seize the equipment straight away.
Didn't you come before?
With the police, yeah, I did.
Terence.
But the guy was really cool. I had no problems with him. He was sweet. Okay, it was all good.
Unfortunately for Jake, he's become the target of one party goer's frustration.
Tuesday night, you're on the pest till 4 in the morning. What have you there?
Terence.
Turn up the stereo. Can you tell us?
No, I'll explain to you.
It has to be completely off.
Yeah, I would say so. Because right now, I should be seizing that equipment. But the guy that I spoke to before was quite receptive. He was actually really good. That's why I'm giving you one more chance. That's it, finish. If I get another complaint, I've got to come back here.
So what, do we got to turn stereo?
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
I would suggest that. I'm not telling you, I'm just suggesting
I'm
it to you.
just asking.
Fortunately, there's one level-headed person able to take control.
Turn the music off.
We're going to turn the music off.
So do you know what we're going to do?
Let's go to Ma's house.
We're going to go to Ma's house.
Thank you very much. I'm sure your neighbours will be much appreciative.
Well, I don't understand it. They party all the time. So.
Yeah. I only come because there's a complaint, mate. Okay, thank you. All right, see ya.
They are very lucky to escape with another warning, and if Jake doesn't receive any more noise complaints from disgruntled neighbours, that will be the end of the matter. Back on the North Shore with Noise Officer Mike, but what's been a relatively quiet night is about to become anything but.
We're heading to a job up in Birkenhead. Apparently it's a demolition party. They're demolishing the house as they move out. So yeah, we're just heading up there to have a listen, see if it's loud.
Birkenhead is better known for stylish houses with harbour views and quiet tree-lined streets, rather than wild demolition parties, whatever they are.
Usually it's when people have been evicted from a flat and just before they move out, they know they pretty well aren't going to get their bond back anyway, so they give it a proper trash.
Back with Noise Officer Mike Dennison at a rowdy demolition party in the usually well-mannered suburb of Birkenhead. It turns out they're not disgruntled tenants. A new house is about to be built on the property, and the owners are celebrating by demolishing the old one. So it appears to be lawful, but loud music, chainsaws and sledgehammers at this time of night aren't, when they're affecting people living nearby. But one of the partygoers thinks he has a novel solution.
Is there any way we can pretend we're someone else? Just make out we're all Aussies or something. Like Aussie wankers just arrived. Yeah, we're from Sydney and we've come over and we've had a few bushfires where we are. And we just thought we'd like to share in some of the experiences that we've had.
The party mood may be jovial, but the noise is excessive. Mike's asking that it be reduced to a reasonable level, and he's giving the party host a formal written warning.
I just need to grab a name.
Actually, no, can't put it under ours because we're in full no collar for the dog. I've got to put
Oh, is this dog control?
No, it's noise control, mate.
I know it's noise.
Yeah, if you don't want to give me your real name, that's cool. I'll just put refuse to supply. That's easy.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, it's I just need a name.
No one lives here.
There are a number of mature adults at this party, including the host, but none of them are making Mike's job any easier.
No one lives here. I'm trying to think of the technical one. No, you're fine. Put Smith. But no. Put my brother's name, Bird.
Mate, no, I need to know who I'm talking to. I'm leaving this one.
Tony.
He's reluctant to give his name, but Mike's very used to dealing with this kind of evasiveness, and eventually gives him the warning.
Yeah, this is the free one. I can't say, mate.
Are you night?
Just keep it down.
Night shift.
I'm noise control, mate. I'm on night. Anyway, you guys have a good night.
Away from the party, Mike reveals the frustration he was feeling during the negotiations, having to reason with grown people who should have known better.
In my opinion, they're middle-aged crisis type people, Pākehā, 40s, 50s, probably more money than sense, beamers out on the road, the chainsaws and sledgehammers. It's just stupid. And then they're making it a great big party. I guess, you know, they don't have a lot of thrills in their lives, bar boardrooms and BMWs.
It's now the small hours of the morning in South Auckland, a time when most people are winding down and Jake's role is amping up. A loud and disorderly party has spilled out onto the street and it's turning nasty. Jake has to be careful. Some people are drunk here and there's the potential for things to get seriously out of hand.
Hey, who actually lives here, mate? Who actually lives here?
Clearly there's a noise problem here, with the loud music and people creating a disturbance on the street. But how does Jake manage a potentially volatile situation?
What?
Hey, mate, just...
Walking through my own house, on my own fucking little world. Gonna look at my fucking son now because of you, asshole. What did I do to you?
The distressed host is not currently the best person to target, so Jake tries her sober friend.
And if you could just go on the and turn that music because their music's too loud.
I will.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Okay, you have a good night. Hopefully we won't see you again, because if we do, it's
I'm
not
from
going to be good.
Auckland, so I'm not used to this shit.
Yeah, no, it's
I'm
not
not
mellow.
party coming to my house.
Okay, mate. All right, cheers. Thank you. Okay, see ya.
Mission accomplished. For now, anyway.
Oh, that was a lively bunch.
And as the weather takes a turn for the worst, so too does Jake's next call. Noise control abated this property earlier, but the noise has continued and a second complaint has come in. First step is to assess whether the second complaint is justified.
Yeah, it's definitely excessive. So we have to call for the police and seize the equipment.
It's Jake's job at this point to confiscate the source of the excessive noise. Standard procedure requires him to call in the police for backup in case things turn bad.
Obviously, there are further complaints about the noise of the property, so I've got to come in and seize the equipment now.
They're about to have their main source of entertainment disappear out the door. Fortunately, there's an adult present to keep the calm.
Okay, the music is too loud. But in the meantime, can you just keep the volume down and let these ones go quickly, okay?
Jake takes care not to damage the equipment, and then it's out of there before the mood changes.
It's us, Brownie. It's us, bro.
That's my stereo, guys.
Having your equipment seized isn't cheap. A $250 recovery fee must be paid on pickup, or the item will be sold at auction. Back on the North Shore with Mike, and like Jake, he's following up on a second complaint about a party he visited earlier in the evening.
Hey, it's just a bit loud, eh? You can hear it down on the road, man.
We know it's loud. It's meant to be.
Mike gave them a written warning at the time.
Catch you later, bro.
Several hours later, the noise still remains highly audible, well beyond their property boundary.
I've assessed it from up the driveway a bit. It's as loud as when we came back the first time, so yeah, I'm going to get the police and we'll see if we can't get this stopped.
Again, 2 police officers are on hand to provide backup. It's a necessary precaution, but it puts additional demands on police resources on what is typically a busy night.
Hello.
Hey, mate. Noise control.
We've only had one warning.
I had an order to remove the stereo, put the dogs in the room.
You only get the one warning, mate.
Do it now.
Rightio, calm down, buddy. Jesus Christ. Come on, son. Oi,
get this dog out of my face.
Yeah, I'm doing it, man. Calm down.
Animals can be unpredictable, so the dog must be secured before the property is safe for entry.
What is this bullshit, man? Where's our warnings?
Hey, calm down.
The initial written warning stated the noise be reduced for 72 hours. No further warnings are required, and the fact that he hasn't complied means the source of the noise can be seized.
What happened to f***ing warnings? What happened to warnings? You gave us one warning.
Hey. Oi, can you please
Listen, buddy.
give me a second to please calm him down?
What's up and nose undividable, okay?
While the police keep the disgruntled man in check, Mike goes about his job confiscating the source of the neighbourhood nuisance.
Another happy customer. Thanks, guys.
After another long night of parties, Auckland and the North Shore are returning to quiet, thanks to the noise control boys. Tonight on The Inspectors, potentially dangerous parking outside North Shore schools.
Hello, sir. Is there any reason why you parked on broken yellow lines?
How's the cook washing his hands in this restaurant?
Look what you're blocking over there. Oh, really? That's your hand basin.
Yeah. And in Dunedin, an open invitation for rats.
That hole goes straight into your chiller where you keep all your nice cooked meat.
In Dunedin, Environmental Health Officers Wayne Boss and Amber Marie Marsh are heading out for a surprise health inspection at a butcher. Meat processing is an area where health inspectors have to be especially vigilant. Bacteria and other organisms found on and in raw meat can easily spread and grow if not handled correctly.
Jeff, I'm Wayne.
G'day, Wayne. How are you?
I'm the Senior Environmental Health Officer.
He's my boss.
And obviously you've met Amber.
This operator currently carries a good grade B, but is determined to improve to an excellent A grade, which won't be easy.
The major risk here is the cross-contamination risks between the cooked things that he produces here, such as the hams, the salamis, etc., and the raw meat product.
Cross-contamination is the transfer of harmful bacteria from one food to another. If the juices from the raw product contaminated a cooked product, which is ready to eat, then people could become dangerously ill. Wayne and Amber begin their inspection by looking at the building structure.
It's just an old premises with poor shell, really, isn't it? Even the old dampness too. You start seeing mould and stuff like that soon enough. Well, that's the only ventilation over there.
Operating a food business in such an old building means it will be a real challenge for the manager to earn his desired A grade.
You see all the insects in the light
I know.
cover as well.
Yeah, insects in the covers.
And the processing equipment is in a similar state.
A lot of the appliances too, Wayne, you know, it's all part of the deal, but, you know,
rusty
just old and rusty. This is what the mince is being mixed in.
What he can do with these is that he can treat them with a suitable metallic paint, and he can just wire brush this and do it up there. They're very expensive pieces of kit, and he can just make them good. So they just need a bit of love. That's what they need.
The machinery may be a quick fix, but the building structure is a more serious problem.
Hey, you've got a thing here too. It's broken.
I think that's the external door as well, you see.
Yeah, straight to the end. That's the delivery door.
Yes, although it's got a curtain on, which is kind of anti-pests for birds, and that's not a lot of good for rodents.
Wayne's concerned about the easy access for nasty, disease-ridden rodents, and it doesn't end there.
Structurally, we've got the edging strips coming off, and we've got the hole in the ceiling as well up there.
The worn-out building is not rodent-tight, and where food's concerned, that's a big worry.
As you can see what I'm concerned about there, Jeff. There's a blooming great hole under the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
The door frame's rotted, and that. But even more worryingly, that hole goes straight into your chiller where you keep all your nice cooked meat. So if we did have a furry friend, there's not much to deter him wandering in there, and having a nice ham dinner for the night.
With a potential rat pathway going straight into the cooked meat chiller, suddenly a downgrade is looking way more likely than the desired upgrade. At Rodney District Council, environmental infringement officers Sue Howard and Michelle Matthews are on the lookout for dangerous parking outside schools.
We're finding it's actually worse of a problem than we probably thought it was.
Yeah.
I mean, we're catching 30-odd vehicles every day.
It's 3 o'clock, the end of the school day, and all hell is about to break loose.
I know there's one on the bus stop.
On the bus stop. Oh, we're going to have the double parking in the bus stop. There you go.
See, now this is what happened, and it's all congested.
Legal parking spaces close to the school gates are at a premium, so parents are parking wherever and however they can. But it's endangering the lives of not just the school children, but local residents and other drivers as well.
See, look, 2 kids, she's over the driveway.
Get it?
BLF something.
Sue and Michelle's job is to make the roads outside schools safer. They can issue infringement notices to anyone double parking near pedestrian crossings, across driveways or on yellow lines.
Hey, is there a reason why you've stopped on broken yellow lines?
I don't know if I have.
Yeah, you have actually. Half the car is on broken yellow lines.
How much broken line am I on?
Half your car.
There's one in your bus stop. What's that one, Michelle?
It may seem like Sue and Michelle are being overly particular, but the roads outside schools are a major hazard area. In the previous year alone, there were 498 accidents causing minor injuries outside schools, 79 accidents causing serious injuries, and a staggering 6 fatalities, all happening in school collection hours.
Hello, sir. Is there any reason why you parked on broken yellow lines?
Sorry?
You know you're actually on broken yellow lines and you have been here for quite a while.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't aware. I just popped along.
Okay, well, it is a quite dangerous position. We're actually doing school patrols at the moment.
Okay.
And also it's a $60 fine.
Hopefully, a $60 fine will deter the man from parking dangerously again. But as things quieten down at the primary school, around the corner at the secondary school, the mayhem is just beginning. Back with Inspectors Sue and Michelle from the Rodney District Council. They're on the lookout for dangerous parking outside schools. This is an area where drivers should be more careful, but basic rules are ignored because people picking up kids are in too much of a hurry.
Yellow lines. This one, I don't know why they do this. And there's one in front, you want to grab that one? Yeah. Oh, on the footpath now. On a broken yellow line and over a footpath. Double whammy, that one, guys.
On footpath.
At the secondary school, new signs clearly prohibit parking in certain areas, but they don't seem to be having much effect.
Hi there. Excuse me, do you realise that you're parking in an area that is prohibited now? $40 ticket.
Okay.
So, letting you know.
Are you going to issue me a ticket or do I?
I'm not going to issue you a ticket if you leave right now.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. See ya.
The lady is escaping with a warning, but it's only because the signage is new. But a speeding courier van shows how easily and suddenly an accident can occur in a congested area like this.
This vehicle was actually reversing into the car space, and the courier driver was going too fast, speeding down the road, and didn't obviously see her, and nearly caused an accident.
This near miss serves as a timely reminder about the need for safety outside schools.
He was doing at least 60.
Yep, there's your favourite courier driver.
Recent regulations have imposed 40km/h speed limits outside schools, but Sue and Michelle are still seeing too many people driving fast in those areas.
All due care on the road, of course.
Their jurisdiction is policing the parking, and that means dealing with drivers who aren't happy with receiving a fine.
People get angry, but if you don't buy into it, then it's just hot air, and you can walk away.
If I'd have got one and it was on the wiper blade, I'd have gone, well, okay, fine, hands up, fair enough, you got me. But two, one the day after the other, I was not happy because they came in the post. I was like, oh, that's not fair.
But now you park somewhere else.
Yeah, more the way down there.
We can see you standing here. You probably parked around the corner.
No, I parked in bloody Albany.
This driver is taking it better than most, and it sounds like he's now parking safely around the corner, which means Sue and Michelle's work is having a positive effect. School's out for now, so Sue and Michelle head back to base to issue the day's infringements.
Unfortunately, we do get the same people quite a few times.
There's
Some people are slow learners.
that are parking on the yellow lines and in bus stops and things. And basically they're causing a danger for other vehicles, especially around the time that the people are picking up their children.
This afternoon alone, Sue and Michelle issued 30 tickets at a cost of more than $1,500. Hopefully this will be a deterrent for dangerous parking outside schools in the future. Meanwhile, on Auckland's North Shore, Environmental Health Officer Fiona Eames is heading out from the council for a surprise afternoon inspection. Worrying statistics from major councils across New Zealand show that Asian restaurants are overrepresented in the low food safety grades. Today's Korean restaurant has a record of problems with food safety practices.
The history of this place has been that they've been so inconsistent. They've been really, really dirty, then they get a downgrading, then they perform spectacularly and just have the place immaculate. They get their A rating, but it's happened probably more than twice now.
It's not unusual for operators to improve their habits for the grading process and then revert back to unsafe practices that put diners at risk.
So the last inspection was a couple of months ago, and I just want to see how everything's going.
That last inspection turned out an excellent grade A, so Fiona should be met with nothing short of perfection.
Hi, Fiona again from North Shore City Council.
But no sooner has she arrived and Fiona uncovers problems.
The lunchtime is gone.
Yeah, lunchtime was busy, yes.
The operator had no idea Fiona was planning a visit today. He's recently finished a lunch service and the place is still messy, so it's a good opportunity for Fiona to assess his food safety practices.
Is this your rice cooker? A bit of cleaning to address all that. Because your hands are going straight on that and your hands have to be cleaned.
Speaking of hand washing, how does this operator wash his hands with the fridge in the way?
This is for me. This is for my drinking when I
you're
feel
hot?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anywhere else you can keep that fridge?
Me?
Yeah, if you can put it somewhere else.
No.
Because look what you're blocking over there.
Really?
That's your hand basin.
Yeah, first time that one is on here.
Right.
But if you just tell me, just change the one.
Yeah.
I'll do that, yeah.
Hand hygiene is critical for food safety because it is impossible to have safe food without having clean hands. Proper hand washing may eliminate up to half the cases of foodborne illnesses.
You've also got all this food around there. Yeah. Throw all that away. Where's the rubbish bin? Is this it? Yeah.
Okay, it's time to
time to clean up.
After lunchtime. You know?
Yeah.
The operator may be using the lunch rush as an excuse for the mess, but Fiona isn't buying it. Back in Dunedin, Wayne and Amber Marie are inspecting a butchery. The state of the building has got them worried.
That hole goes straight into your chiller where you keep all your nice cooked meat. So if we did have a furry friend, there's not much to deter him wandering in there and having a nice ham dinner for the night.
Wayne's concerned that the building is not rodent tight.
To just tell me pest control in the premises, what
we use,
what you have?
We use, I'll show you.
I've seen boxes, but do you have a contract?
I do.
Oh, great. And how often they visit? This was 27th of May.
Yes, which was just a couple of days ago.
8 base stations, all checked. And that's it?
Yep, and that's all he's had to write because he just reports to me at the end of it and he said there's been no activity. We've never had any evidence of them being in the interior of the building.
Okay.
We do get activity outside.
It sounds like the operator is doing all the right things to prevent rodents from getting into the building. Pest control is always better used as a preventative measure than a cure. So Wayne's next concern is minimising the risk of cross-contamination between raw and cooked products.
The layout of your premises being this nice U-shape.
Yes.
And we'd be really, really enthusiastic if all cooked production took place kind of one side and raw meat the other.
Currently, both cooked and raw meats are stored together. Also, the preparation areas for cooked and raw meats aren't separate, and because they're shared areas, there's a greater chance of cross-contamination.
Stuff that's minced in here, and this worries me as well, because you've got mincing machines which are specifically used for mincing raw meat, but this is the room we produce a cooked meat in.
So two uses.
And the best thing that butchers can always do is just to try and look for complete physical separation.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
This storage and processing of cooked and raw meat is all mixed together, but the ideal situation would be to separate the two, making for a much safer process and eliminating any concern over dangerous cross-contamination.
Yes, for us to achieve that,
just shuffle your equipment around, that's all you got to do.
we really only have to move it.
Move that, exactly.
I know, yeah, that's all that's needed for coming in here in the first place, isn't it?
Another easy fix, but out in the shop, will things be as simple? On Auckland's North Shore, Environmental Health Officer Fiona Eames is busy assessing all aspects of food safety at a Korean restaurant that's currently holding an A-grade standard.
What's this one? That's raw meat.
Just like the butchery in Dunedin, raw meat stored alongside cooked meat could lead to potentially dangerous cross-contamination.
And is that raw meat as well? Okay. It's raw meat. Okay. Okay. Yeah, designate an area specifically for raw meat.
Containers or not, Fiona wants to see cooked and raw food stored separately to avoid juices from uncooked meats dripping onto ready-to-eat food. But now her inspection moves on to a grimier area.
Let's check your grease trap. The grease trap is the place where cockroaches will love to hang out as well. So you've got a newspaper here to cover all the grease and stuff. I would say give that a good clean again, because all this little stuff might seem little dirt, but it's actually big dirt that can attract pests and rodents and stuff.
Given the operator earned an A grade only 2 months ago, pests shouldn't be a problem here. That's assuming he's kept up his pest control contract.
Have you had the pest control company in?
Yeah, I just let you know I'm the last December.
Last December they
you,
came in?
Yeah, you told me and I just show you the receipt, invoice.
Yes.
I show you last December.
And when are they expected to come in again?
This is your first time, just after last December.
Yeah, are they going to come in again?
No, you checked the last time.
Okay. Well, call them again to do another round. Okay.
Pest control, like all safe food practices, must be maintained. Enough problems have emerged on this visit to suggest Fiona was right to be concerned about whether the operator could maintain the A-grade rating. It's just a question of how much she downgrades him.
Okay, so you've gone down to a B, which isn't too bad. You've had worse, haven't you? Yeah, so just get out that scrubbing brush again, do the cleaning, and keep that hand basin clear. Hand hygiene is really, really important. Okay. And how you store your meats is also the other issue as well.
For now, the operator will have to be satisfied with a good grade B, which is a fair reflection of how Fiona found his kitchen today. And he will have to improve on his food safety practices if he is to regain his excellent A grade. Back in Dunedin with Wayne and Amber Marie at a butcher that processes both raw and cooked meats.
The major risk here is the cross-contamination risks between the cooked things that he produces here, such as the hams, the salamis, etc., and the raw meat product.
There was a major concern over the potential for cross-contamination with the cooked and raw production processes.
And the best thing that butchers can always do is just to try and look for complete physical separation. You know what I mean?
Wayne and Amber's inspection has moved out to the shop floor, where they're hoping to see a better separation between cooked and raw product. But first, Wayne has to get past one worker's dodgy hand-washing practices.
So what you can see there is hand washing using water only. Which is not very effective at all. Hi, Mike. I just wanted to have a quick chat with you. I'm Wayne. I'm the Environmental Health Officer. What I noticed, when you're washing your hands, you're just using water only. And that ain't a lot of good. That's what this is for.
Yep.
It's a sanitizer. Yep. You need to put some of that soap on your hands and wash it, and the water before you dry them. And so it needs to be a bit more of a thorough job, that, using this stuff.
Yep, righto then.
All right.
Yeah, I just usually use hot water.
You need this as well. All right. Particularly if you're serving something cooked, like a cooked meat, and then a raw meat for the customer.
The second shop assistant also didn't use the soap until Wayne pointed it out. Clearly, hand washing has to be improved in this place.
So on the main display, I mean, that is really poor.
Is it? We're talking ham?
No, that's a bacon that's going to be cooked, but that isn't.
And there's a problem in the display cabinet as well, where the raw and cooked meat are side by side.
What we usually require is a divide.
Yeah.
You know.
They sort of that should be.
Which is really a basic, yeah. When we've got a butchery area, what we should be looking at is complete physical separation between cooked and raw product, because obviously the cooked is ready to eat.
The same problem seen out the back is evident in the sales area.
But what we can see here, we've got cooked meats, hams and that, and it's right next to the raw. There's a real serious risk with that of bacterial contamination passing from the raw meat onto the cooked, which people don't cook again, so it's not safe.
So how is the inspection stacked up for an operator eager to improve on his B grade?
So what we're talking about is a divide, completely separate all the cooked meat there and then the raw meat there, and then that's fine, it's a good chiller. Because obviously there's a lot of structural things, but what we're really concerned is the food safety side of things.
Yeah,
and I think there's not a lot of tweaking to be done on that, right? And we could get that up, so we can get the whole lot up to that A standard, which is what we want.
So no upgrade today for this operator, who will have to be happy retaining his good B grade for now. But if he separates his cooked and raw meat work lines and fixes the minor structural problems, he could easily attain that elusive A grade. Tonight, filthy restaurant kitchens in Auckland.
When was the last time you moved your freezer and fridge? If you don't keep those areas clean, then it's going to attract the rats and the mice and the cockroaches.
Illegal home kill putting the public in danger.
What we see in the conditions in places like this aren't particularly pleasant to think that this is the product that you end up eating.
And in Dunedin, a routine inspection upsets patrons.
I'm just telling you, don't well do it, otherwise I'll smash that camera on you.
A little bit of hostility from the clients of the public house.
In Auckland, a team from the New Zealand Food Safety Authority are mounting a two-pronged attack on a potentially dangerous food outlet. It's their job to protect consumers, ensuring food is produced according to the regulations.
Our role from the New Zealand Food Safety Authority is to ensure that all food gathered is safe and fit for the purpose intended.
Today's operation is the result of several months of investigating a potentially illegal home kill operation.
The allegation is that the farmer is killing these animals for the purposes of selling them to members of the public and possibly butcher shops in the Greater Auckland area.
In New Zealand, it's legal to home kill stock for your own use, but not for human consumption by others or for commercial gain. And because there are no health controls over home butchering, it can pose a serious risk to public health.
We can't guarantee that home kill meat is fit for purpose. We don't know how long it's been hanging. We don't know how it was killed. We don't know when it was killed.
This officer is heading the team that's going to the dairy farm in Franklin where the illegal home kill is believed to be happening. They have obtained warrants to search the property.
The idea of executing the search warrant is to gather evidence and seize possible carcasses of lambs, goats and poultry. We're going to interview the farmer and we're going to shut down his operation.
But the farmer doesn't live on the property, so there's a good chance he won't be there. So a second team is sitting outside a residential address in Pakuranga. Again, they're armed with a search warrant.
We're going to be searching for documents and cell phones, cash, and anything that will support the sale of illegal meat, illegal lambs, goats and chickens.
If either team finds proof that the farmer is killing stock for commercial gain, then he could be facing hefty fines and even a prison sentence.
We're going to go now, go up to this address on the right and approach the front door and see what happens.
Both teams will serve the two separate warrants simultaneously to avoid any risk of having evidence at either location disturbed.
G'day mate, how are you? I'm with the New Zealand Food Safety Authority.
The farmer's nowhere to be seen, so the team begin their search.
It's the same powers as the police, very similar, okay? But we're not here to upset you, we just want to do our job.
In Pakuranga, the second team are about to enter the residential address, where a white truck known to have delivered carcasses is parked right out the front.
Hello.
This is the man they're keen to question, the farmer. A warrant means he has no choice but to allow them into the house, and he agrees to answer a few questions.
We've been looking at the activity of illegal meat sales over the last few months, and we're aware that there's been some lamb carcasses sold from your truck.
The farmer denies the claim, telling the officer he hasn't killed anything recently, and on the rare occasion that he does, it's only for friends. Mounting evidence at the farm, however, would suggest this isn't the case.
We've got 20 live lambs around here and one carcass in here.
There's little doubt that stock are being slaughtered here, but they've yet to find any evidence that he's supplying and selling the meat to other people. Meanwhile, in Dunedin, Environmental Health Officer Wayne Boss is following up on a potential rodent infestation at a central city pub.
I've received a call from one of our other environmental health officers who needs some support at a premises where the conditions are found to be poor and possible infestation problem.
Wayne's been advised that the pub's kitchen is the main problem area, and sure enough...
We just stepped into the kitchen. There's a real strong odour.
Experienced inspectors like Wayne rely on smell as a first warning of problems that aren't visually obvious.
Oh. Well, right. Got a saucer here, you know, labelled up poison ready to kill rat bait, but there's none on it. It's just spread round all of the sort of 3-4 metre area of the kitchen. You do often see that when there's rodent activity. You do see that they'll start sort of grabbing mouthfuls of the bait, traipsing it around, kicking it off the dishes, things like that. You can't have a food kitchen with poison spread around as well. That's not a good idea.
Using enclosed bait stations would reduce the chance of dangerous poison being spread across the kitchen floor.
Could be that there's been some vermin that have picked up the bait, and what they'll tend to go is find a nook or a cranny and underneath floorboards and die. And there's a real smell as though there might be actually some rotting carcasses in it. It really does smell.
Vermin are carriers of numerous dangerous diseases and microorganisms and can contaminate surfaces with their hair, fecal droppings, urine, saliva, body parts and general filth.
It's absolutely blindingly obvious to us that this premises has got a fairly active infestation problem.
Vermin in a place where food and refreshments are served is a serious public health risk, leaving Wayne with no option but to take it up with the operator. Back with Wayne in Dunedin, where he and another officer have uncovered a potential vermin infestation at a central city pub.
I've got some real worries and concerns with your premises, right? When you step into that kitchen, there's a real strong odour. Could be decaying bodies. Have you noticed that smell?
No. The thing is, no, that kitchen never gets used. I never use it. No one ever uses the kitchen apart from me, just to cook my own meals. So I mean, it's not actually used. The kitchen, that's why it's bloody like that, is because it's never used.
Well, it is a worry to you, right? The reason being is that it's open onto the rest of the premises. So if you've got vermin there, you've got vermin that can walk through the rest of your premises, right?
Vermin aren't acceptable in any part of the premises, whether the kitchen is used or not.
You've explained to me you don't use the kitchen. We're going to formally close that kitchen.
A D grade closes the kitchen until the problems are rectified.
The only part of the premises we're going to permit to be open still is this bar.
A separate C grade allocated to the bar means it can remain open, which you'd expect the locals to be happy about.
I'm just telling you, don't well do it, otherwise I'll smash that camera on you.
Right, well that was an interesting job with a little bit of hostility from the clients of the public house. Maybe they've had a bit to drink, but sometimes I find it an interesting response from members of the public who seem to be getting a bit upset. Generally the work that we're doing is just for the public's benefit, that we're making sure they're not eating in poor establishments and protecting the public health, and sometimes you do get a little bit of hostility like that, so it's interesting, part of the job.
Meanwhile, on Auckland's North Shore, Environmental Health Officer Brett Taylor is heading out for an annual grading inspection. Today he is visiting a sushi restaurant that carries a coveted Grade A, but in contrast, it also carries a history of problems.
The premises has had a bit of a shady past, fluctuating between C's, B's and A's.
Previous issues have revolved around substandard cleaning, but Brett hopes that they have been able to maintain the excellent safety practices that earned them a high grade last year.
Hi there. Hello. From Warsaw City Council.
Because of a language barrier, Brett uses a translator to ensure the operators understand every aspect of the inspection.
So what I need to do is just check through the kitchen.
This place was immaculate a year ago, but today the kitchen's a mess. There are food spills and scraps everywhere, which are probably the reason for all the flies.
What are you doing for pest control? For flies, cockroaches, rats and mice.
해충 퇴치는 어떻게 하고 있냐요?
저기 저걸로.
가져보세요.
거기 저기 뒤에 파력이 있네. 매일 내가 뿌려요.
Brett learns that the operator is trying to manage the flies herself.
So you're just doing it yourselves?
Yeah, everyday dinner all 하고 tomorrow okay.
Okay. Slip back on that though, you'll probably find you'll get an infestation. And if you get an infestation, then you're going to need a contractor.
Regular visits by a pest control contractor would go a long way towards getting rid of the flies, but they also need to lift their cleaning standards.
How often do you clean up? Do they clean up on top here?
Yes,
4일 일주일 안에 내가 한 번씩 닦는다.
within 1 week.
Once a week?
Yeah.
From the dirt and grime Brett can see, cleaning doesn't look like a weekly occurrence, let alone a daily one as it should be.
When was the last time you moved your freezer and fridge?
Every Saturday.
Yeah.
Every Saturday?
Yeah.
근데 그 안에 손 안 대가.
Rotten food under equipment suggests their historic cleaning problems are back, but will they lose their A grade? Back in Franklin, the New Zealand Food Safety team search a farm to investigate a suspected illegal Homekill operation.
And there's flies on the windowsills here. They can lay their eggs in there if we get maggots. We don't know how long this meat's going to sit here before someone comes and buys it. It may sit there for a day, we don't know, 2 days.
The storage of the carcass in an area open to flies suggests this operator isn't too concerned about health risks, and that's borne out by a find in a neighbouring shed.
Well, that's warm too. I'd say it's slaughtered in the last couple of hours, really. It's warm to the touch and the gut anyway.
The farmer claimed nothing has been slaughtered for months, but this is clear evidence to the contrary.
Body's gone, but I mean, there's no sign in here that it was slaughtered here, so it's probably done over in that cow shed, which is pretty unhygienic in terms of milk production.
We've got blood down here, indicating that something has been killed or cut down here. If we go up the concrete, there's more blood down here. We've got chains, rope. We've got knives for slaughtering, loppers for cutting hocks off, and a machete for perhaps cutting the neck off. So it's been slaughtered here and then hosed off down the concrete and down into the paddock. And from there, possibly been taken in where it's been hung in the other room.
Remember, this farm is a legitimate dairy operation, which means it has to comply with certain health regulations.
This is a milking shed, it's not a slaughterhouse. And the two don't mix. And the meat's hanging in a room that has the door open. There's at least 6 dogs in the area. We know at the moment that the dogs have been into another part of the farm and dragged out goat carcasses and gut packs. Who's to know that they haven't been nibbling on this lamb that is possibly subsequently going to be sold to a butcher shop in Auckland, who's then going to sell it onto a restaurant, and then the end consumer is going to be eating a piece of lamb for dinner that a dog has been chewing on. So that's why we're here.
Animal product intended to be traded for consumption in New Zealand must undergo processing in premises that operate risk management programs, which identify, control, manage and eliminate dangerous risks and ensure the product is fit for its intended purpose, whether as human or animal food. At the residential address in Pakuranga, the farmer is now saying he kills the animals for his own dog tucker, but that's not how it looks to the team at the farm.
If you look up here, we've got an order being made, written on the whiteboard, an order for Sunday for a person with his phone number, ordered 2 male goats, priced at $80 to $90 each.
The whiteboard is the clearest evidence yet that orders are being taken and money is changing hands, which the farmer has already denied once.
Have you sold any goats?
He still insists the meat is for friends, the dogs and his workers. Back on Auckland's North Shore, a restaurant with an A grade but with a history of cleaning problems is back to its bad old ways, coming up well below par on inspection.
So you clean your number but you don't move the machine?
그거는 없고 내가 손으로 항상 엎드려서 닦아가지고 내요.
Every time by hand.
By hand, you reach under.
그 쇠수제미라고 닦아가지고.
You don't pull the machine out.
Brett found remnants of rotten food and filth under the equipment, which is a worry because it's a big attraction for nasty pests.
Yeah, if you don't keep those areas clean, then it's going to attract the rats and the mice and the cockroaches.
Oh, no problem. Okay.
It was a problem for Brett, and with the cleaning not up to scratch, his assessment had the restaurant downgraded to a B, and he'll be keeping a close eye to make sure the standards don't fall any further between now and the next inspection. Back with a New Zealand food safety investigation, and unexpected guests at the farm are adding to the team's suspicions.
And so far we've established that Ravinda has arrived to source some milk.
Milk? Oh, just one bottle?
So you specifically want unpasteurised milk? Is that the reason?
Yeah. And you've come from Smells Road to here to get 3 litres of milk. That's expensive milk.
Over an hour's drive does seem like an excessive trip for only 1 bottle of unpasteurised milk.
Can we have a look in your boot, please?
What's the bags for?
The bags I went to before last week I went to pick a part to get some parts, so I left the plastics there.
Did you come here to pick up some lambs?
No.
Have you picked up lambs previously?
No.
Anything else from here?
No,
just the milk.
But no sooner does one visitor vanish and another arrives. And like the previous driver with plastic bags in the boot, he has something in the back of his van suitable for transporting meat, an empty box. He claims to be visiting a friend, but he can't even remember his friend's name.
You're not here to buy any sheep or goats, are you?
No.
You sure about that?
Is he selling them?
Yes, he is.
Oh, I don't know. No.
If you've come here today to buy home-killed lambs, goats, chooks, or any other poultry, if that was your intention today, there is no point in you coming back because this farm is now shut down in regard to the sale of home-killed food. Okay, well, if that's the case, then that's fine. Personally, I don't think that's the case.
It's not unusual for Homekill operators to supply meat to restaurants and butchers, and this could have been a pickup.
No parcels in the van, empty cardboard box.
How big is the cardboard box?
Big enough.
Big enough for a lamb?
Oh, yeah.
There's also a house on the farm which the team now start to search.
We were just going through all his records and documents, and we're basically looking for phone numbers relating to butcher shops or orders made from members of the public with phone numbers, orders, things like the amount of goats or lambs or chickens that they're after, the price they're going to pay for them, when they're going to be delivered. Hopefully we'll find all that here because all those records are kept on the kitchen table. Let's see, he bought 31 sheep on the 20th of this month. 4, 7, 8, 9, 14 ewes and rams. Another bunch of ewes on the 20th of last month. 58 lambs then.
58?
58 lambs on the 20th.
This number is nothing out of the ordinary for a beef and sheep farmer. But remember, this is a dairy farm.
When you're milking 170 cattle a day, twice a day, you'd have to say that farming sheep would be the least of your worries.
Back at the house in Pakuranga, the officer is still pushing for more details from the farmer.
Can you level with me? Have you sold to any butcher shops in Auckland?
Finally, the farmer admits to some involvement in sales. And the questioning concludes so the officer can search for other evidence. First stop, the white truck parked out the front, known to have been used for deliveries.
A little bit of discussion, as you can probably tell, but it's okay, it's fine. Here's some goat carcasses. There's 4 there. Which he says is dog tucker. I have reason to believe otherwise, of course.
As both teams wrap up this leg of their investigation,
done.
They head back to a central meeting point to closely examine the evidence. The officers are particularly interested in the condition of the 4 carcasses.
Offal's been put into bags. We've been advised by the farmer that he's keeping this for dog tucker, but I don't think the dogs know how to open the bags to get the kidneys out and the liver. Again, same thing. We've got heart, liver and kidneys there.
And thrown in for good measure, a disturbing find of faeces.
Good way to end up with a dose of food poisoning.
The gut pack has perhaps broken open and it's left fecal matter and stomach contents on the carcass of the goat. That's got fecal pellets in there as well. And again, this has come out of a truck that's been sitting in a residential driveway for at least the night. We don't know how long this meat has been in the back of that truck. I wouldn't even give it to my dogs.
If it's not good enough for dogs, it's certainly not fit for human consumption.
Over the last few years, there's been a good number of prosecutions for sale of non-complying product, and the level of fines has been increasing each time that we put somebody before the court. So the whole idea of it is to make a deterrent, really. That's exactly what's been happening. So we've been quite pleased, really.
After several months of investigation, it's been a successful day for the New Zealand Food Safety Team. They've collected enough evidence to mount a strong case against this Homekill operator.
At the end of the day, it's the product's meant to be fit for its intended purpose, and what we see in the conditions in places like this aren't particularly pleasant to think that this is the product that you end up eating. Simple as that, really.
The overwhelming evidence collected at this investigation did point to illegal activity that was putting the health of consumers at serious risk. The New Zealand Food Safety Authority issued the farmer with a notice of direction and had his unlawful operation immediately shut down.